What is up? I think technically I'm live right now, but stream's delayed to YouTube. I always like to make sure before I get everything jumping here. And maybe. As you can tell, we're still waiting for Death Kitty anyway, so ain't no thing at all. Hold on, here she is. Let's get her up.
Hey, baby.
Hey, Death Kitty, how you doing?
Good.
All right, well we got.
Patriotism,
I'm surprised they are not fucking with us today on this one.
right?
Well, the night is young. Right, let's fix this camera real quick. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Friday? We're done with the rain. We are on to some warm, sunny weather. I am happy as hell about that. I don't know about y'all. What
Hello,
is up,
Georgia Redneck.
Georgia? Let me get the spotlight dealio up here. Bing, ba, boom.
Oh, I need my phone. I'll wait till we have a
You're
breaking
good.
point.
Go grab it. Go grab it.
Oh, okay.
We're getting warmed
All
up.
right.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
getting warmed up. Georgia, yes you are, man. Fuck yeah, man. You're always there for us, bro. Fuck yeah, we love it, man. We love it. Thank you for always being a supporter, dude. Man, I know, man, we've got like a handful of people, man, and dude, I'm cool with that, man. I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies any day, man. You guys are all awesome, man. Thank each and every one of y'all who have been there with us and, you know, really help get us out there and support us and all that, man. We appreciate everything you guys do. You guys are the rock stars. Right, so waiting on Kitty to get back in here, but tonight, guys, we are going over patriotism, what it means to be a true patriot, to be a true American. We're gonna, anybody who watches our show knows we don't script this out. We don't have any sort of, well, for me anyway, a whole lot of thought, like forethought that goes into it. I just jump right in and just say what's in my heart, man. And tonight is going to be one of those deals as well. I do have kind of a short outline. I want to kind of start with some American documents. Something that just isn't all that well known and studied, read anymore, let alone understood.
Can we
If
start it
anybody,
off? Can we start it off like we talked about?
yeah,
I
no,
pledge
we're
of
doing that. Yeah,
allegiance.
no, we're gonna do that.
Okay.
You're getting
Okay.
way ahead of me here. Anyway, but no, for real. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna start off with that. We're gonna kind of hit on some things about, as anybody who's watched the teaser I dropped here recently, that a lot of people fight simple stuff like the Constitution and they don't even understand it. How can you be against or fight to change something you don't even understand? But everything from that, and then of course, we're gonna be in the chat, listening, see what everyone else has got to kind of throw in, and yeah, just kind of see what rolls from there. But now Death Kitty's back. We are smoking sass. We got our main guy George Redneck in the house here.
Good to see you as a patriot here, Georgia Redneck, and any other patriots that end up watching this as a replay. Good to see you here. You're more than welcome to our channel.
Absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, for sure, man. Dude, we always got your back. I know the reactions and shit have been slacking lately, man, but we're just having audio problems, man, and I hate, the audio quality that came out in those last two reactions, and I don't want to fucking do anything that isn't going to do you guys justice. So I'd rather not do any reactions at all than do a half-assed one where you can't even fucking understand the audio or hear anything because our audio's so messed up, man.
Right.
So why this works, I guess it's restreamed. They're handling all the intricate shit. So, but even here we have problems, and we can't stream fucking audio from a browser and like pull up y'all's music and just listen to it through here. It's fucking ridiculous, man. But if we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it right, and we're gonna
Because
make it
the
right.
artist, all of these independent artists deserve better. That's why.
That, and what are we preaching? What are we expecting? Integrity. You can't ask for that and not ever give it in return. So we stand by that integrity of we're gonna do it the right way. We're gonna do these artists justice.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So usually I will pull up and kind of read stuff off that I'm doing here, but I think this one is simple enough that we should all be able to fucking do it without having a script in front of us. Um, Anybody who is younger who might be watching this, like fresh out of high school or in college and stuff, if you guys don't know this, we're not holding you all at fault here because the education system at the time when you went to school, depending on where you went to school and all that, you might not have ever been taught this. And maybe, you know, maybe this episode could inspire y'all to kind of look deeper into this, to maybe try to learn more and educate yourself more about, in areas that the education system failed you. So, but now if you're older and you don't know this, there's definitely wrong because even when I was going to school, man, we still said the fucking Pledge of Allegiance every day. So, all right, guys. So, Kitty, you want to start it off?
Are we doing it now?
Let's do it.
Okay. I pledge of
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the
to the
flag
flag of the
of the
United States
of America
America and to
and
the
to the
republic.
for which
Republic.
it stands.
Republic. Not democracy, republic.
Remember that. Remember that.
To which
And
it
to the republic
stands.
for which it stands. One
One
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible,
indivisible, with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice for
for
all.
all.
Liberty and justice for all.
All. So, fuck it. Let's start right there. For all. How many people just assume that, I don't want to classify and say anything such as, white people or rednecks in general. I want to say it like this: anybody who truly believes in just patriotism, you know, there are certain people that will automatically take you as a bigot or a racist or, you know, something. It's always something. And that's the thing, man. Like, the true patriots, we don't have any prejudices against somebody based off of dumb shit like that, like skin color or gender or any of that, sexual preference, none of that shit. We don't care, man. As long as you're not forcing it on us, as long as you're not trying to indoctrinate our kids and just basic shit like that, what you do on your own time, in your own home, with your partner or stranger or whatever, we don't care, man. We don't fucking care. And
And
anybody who
so,
claims otherwise is not a true patriot because that's not
absolutely.
what patriotism is.
Absolutely. And if you want to get down to the nitty gritty of everything, I'm more of a libertarian. I identify more with the libertarian, the ideals and everything. The problem is it's always a two-party race. And
Yep.
you're never going to see, well, I'm not going to say never, right? Let's get that out of our thinking. But for right now, we still only have a two-party system. And because the conservative usually, depending on the candidate, usually matches more with my values, and the constitutional values that I have and everything else, I tend to vote more conservative. I voted for Trump, MAGA all the way, make America great again, 100%. I believe in that. Even though I am a libertarian. So,
And same here. I'm registered libertarian, and I voted for Trump, and I'm proud of it. And
absolutely.
you know, people want to talk about how he acts and treats people, but that's the thing, man. Like, you know, mainstream media. First off, let's say this: you got to break away from mainstream media. And this is the thing I've noticed with, and we're not here to dog liberals, man. Like, man, I'm against liberals. I don't agree with them. Most of them I can't spend time around because I don't like who they are as people. Not and that's not just because they're liberals, it's because of the liberal values, like Kitty, you were just talking about earlier, that bleed into your personality.
Yeah,
You
it bleeds
know,
into their personality almost to the point where they don't even see reality for what it is. And they see lies as truths and truths as lies.
exactly.
Like in
They
real life. It's
they
crazy.
it's like they have problem like with common sense and thinking for themselves. They think how they're told, not they don't think for themselves. So, the first off, like I said, let's start with mainstream media. So I've known a lot of liberals that'll sit there and say exactly what's going on. Oh yeah, politicians lie and the media lies and all this, but they'll watch and believe the media and politicians. I'm like, okay, so you can sit there and go in and break down the exact ways that politicians, screw us and, how they don't actually care and all of this stuff, but you just you don't understand that that is what is going on with you. You're being, brainwashed by mainstream media, and you don't realize it, but you understand it's possible and it happens every day. But you're just saying it's only happening to the conservatives, not the liberals.
Right, right.
And
And
here's the
let's go
thing, and
back.
and hold on, Kitty, real quick. And that's
Mhm.
the thing difference between real patriots and conservatives is the patriots understand that same concept. Yeah, media lies, politicians lie, all of that. But we understand that it's not just the liberals. The conservatives will say it's just the liberals. The liberals will say it's just the conservatives. The patriots say, hey, it's both of them. And that is the difference. Is we
Right.
understand it's both fucking sides, and that's why we don't pick a side. We pick America.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is both sides. It is absolutely. You have so many rhinos coming in and saying they're conservatives for I don't know how many years, last like 30, 40 years, saying they're conservative, but they're not conservative. The moment a lobbyist gets up their butt and gives them what they want, they will go with whatever that lobbyist tells them to do. They're bought out. That's it. End of story. I
Yep,
mean, and this goes so much further than just the like federal level. Look at your states. Our state has a big problem with that right now.
absolutely. Georgia, yes, sir. They, it's free speech for them, but not for us. You know, and there is a song out there, "Free Speech for the Dumb." But
And you see, here's the thing is that back 40, 50 years ago, it was still propaganda. Did anybody know it at the time? No. So everybody grew up watching, getting a routine, watching the news, trying to keep updated on national events, current world events, everything else. And these same liberal people grew up with that mindset that these are trustworthy stations, these are trustworthy people, but they're not because they were propaganda from the very get go. And
absolutely,
it's whatever purse strings that are pulling the mainstream media that will tell you the way it needs to be.
yeah,
And they will put out whatever story whatever purse string is putting it out there, like, hey, I'm going to tell you to say this. Yeah, it's totally against what you said 30 years ago, but you're going to say this because I pay for you. And that's what they do. And so these people grow up and they're watching the same station and they're like, oh, well, I've been watching this dude for 30 years. Yeah, no, he's reliable. I remember him when I was a little girl. Like, no, that doesn't mean jack shit. It doesn't mean jack shit. It's always been this way.
Yeah. And I, real quick, I want to go back and touch on what I just said. A lot of people misunderstand the meaning of the word dumb. It has become a slang term to mean stupid, but dumb also means to not be able to speak. Basically, you're mute. So think about that. Free speech for the mute, for the ones who can't speak. There's free speech. That's a thinker, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
It like see that it this isn't new. Like people are aware of this for a while now. This isn't like all
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden we're just saying this is what's happening. But no,
Right.
back to what you were saying, Kitty. And it's even down on the local news level because
Mm-hmm.
local news may not cover the national stuff so much, but what do they do cover? They
When they do, they sound
cover
like a
local
bunch of
legislature.
parrots. They sound like a
They
bunch of parrots. You
but
compare
what do
it
they
to
cover?
other.
They cover local legislature. They
Right.
cover what our state government is up to and what our state is doing.
But they don't cover an honest, objective point of view. Back whenever I was growing up, journalism was supposed to actually be journalism.
Yep.
It wasn't you taking one slanted part of the way or one slanted part of the way. It was you putting out there, okay, this person is reporting this. We dug a little bit further. This is what we found. You make your decision. That is true journalism. None of anything that we see nowadays is true journalism at all anymore. And this is a problem with America right now. This is a problem with patriotism right now. Do you know how many independent news channels are going on right now with single people doing a podcast like we are right now? You know how many people that came around to doing this around the Biden administration? Because no mainstream news channel is going to report the truth. They're going to report everything at a slant. Like, look at our local Coco. What was it? No, News 9. They reported, oh, these people were so scared because these people, these federal agents went and they woke them up in the middle of the night, but they had the wrong house, and this is so wrong. Okay, how is that journalism? That is not journalism. That is reporting your opinion. Okay, yeah, maybe they had the wrong house. Yeah, that's true. But what are these people from the federal agency trying to do?
Well,
They are
it
trying to get
was
out illegal immigrants,
it
correct?
wasn't it wasn't the reporter that was saying that. It was the person that they were interviewing.
Yes, but
But
what
back
do
to your
they
point, why are they airing that?
exactly?
Like,
Why
oh,
are they
look at this
airing
tragedy. Oh my God. Where's the tragedy? Nobody
where
got hurt.
exactly? Why are they airing it in the okay, not a victim, but the victim's words, right? Why are they using that as their catch piece to catch in more views on
Yeah.
X?
Kitty, what's your volume? I'm getting a lot of popping on your mic.
Sorry. Why are they not, putting it even in quotations?
Exactly.
Why
And,
are they not doing that?
they may not have sat there and fueled the fire like the reporter and the anchors and all that, but they definitely didn't put it into perspective. So, they rode the fence, but I have a problem with fucking fence riders anyway, because if you can't pick a fucking side with some conviction, I don't even care if you pick the wrong side. Just have fucking conviction in what you pick and who you choose to, stand a part of. But, dude, there were no what was so scary about it? They were law enforcement out doing their job. They got the wrong house. The house was vacant. The house was vacant. Nobody got hurt. Nobody was harmed. They weren't in there, making polling in the neighbors and all this. They were just observing basically through their window. I don't know if it was through their window or they were in the front yard, but they were observing through their window and talking about how scary it was. Why was it scary? Were you in harm's way? Were you being threatened? Were you wanted? If you were wanted, did you do something? Like maybe they should be looking at you. I don't know. But dude, it's weird. Where's the threat? Where's the scariness? And law enforcement doing their job. And they just so happened to be next door. And even then, nobody got hurt. They didn't accidentally, like fire shots at somebody.
Mm.
Who cares?
So I will tell you, and this is why I'm called Death Kitty. All you liberals out there, that ain't shit compared to all of these right winged or conservative influencers being raided, these people having the cops called on them, spotlights put out in the middle of the night, and they literally go out to their lawn and they have their hands up because it's reported that they are armed and dangerous. That is not shit compared to what they've been through. And some of them multiple times. Look at Owen Schroer from InfoWars.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
happened to
those
him a
guys are
couple
getting
of
hit
times.
hard.
It has happened to him a couple of times. And, one wrong move, because you stay out of trouble, the cops don't know who you are, even if you live right there in town, right? They just see a name, they see a report, they go out there, they do what they're supposed to do. They've got their guns drawn, they're ready to go because this is what's been reported to them. And you come out and you already know they're being swatted, and you go out there with your hands up, everything else. One wrong move. That's all it takes. And that is no fault of the officers. That is not. That is the way they are trained because they were told this person is armed and dangerous. And you know how many of these right wing or conservative influencers have kids in the house
Watch that, Mike.
with this going on? Kids in the house with this going on.
Yeah.
So these
And
people can get the fuck over themselves. I'm sorry.
And
No.
that's the thing. I mean, imagine that is where fear should come in, not fear of the law enforcement because they're following orders, man. Yeah, there's crooked law enforcement. No, name an agency. There's some crookedness, but dude, it's not fear of the law enforcement. It's fear of you know there's a target on my back, and all they need is an excuse, no matter how fucking dumb. They'll, sweep it under details under the rug and blow that proportion, all this, and you know that, and you're like, you're so afraid of every step you take because your kids are watching in the fucking house. You don't want them to see, you know, brain matter splattering everywhere. You don't want that for them. You're like, please don't let that be tonight, not right here. Take me somewhere else and do it. You got that kind of shit. That's fear, not somebody raiding a vacant house next door to you. That's not fear. You don't know what fear is. You've never been in a situation where you've had something to fucking fear. If that is scary to you, you haven't experienced fucking life. If that's scary to you.
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay, you want to hit that chat real quick?
So, all right, Church Redneck. Exactly, they don't care about others. Absolutely. Um, Whenever it comes to the sad thing for America, and it's been building that way, and it's been that way the last 4 years, and maybe a little bit longer, and going into even right now. People from the other party do not care. The liberals do not care about others. They don't care if other people get hurt. They celebrate whenever other politicians' wives get cancer. They celebrate, they call for their kids to be killed. Um, this is not the same kind of people like Democratic Party that I grew up with. The Democratic Party I grew up with was at least a little bit more tolerable. These people, I'm gonna be honest. Stormy, can I be honest here? I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm not perfect in any sort of way, y'all, but looking at this liberal party today, it's like they're all full of demons. I'm not gonna lie to you. Them screaming just because Trump won, breaking out like that, breaking out because they don't get their way, get throwing tantrums. Like literally, it looks like demons being exorcised from their body. Like I'm not playing around here. Like I'm being serious. This is a spiritual thing. Like absolutely, Church Redneck.
And that's why I said to
Uh,
you, it's not even a left versus right anymore. This isn't a political
mm-mm,
war, or this is a full-on brass tacks, good versus evil.
absolutely, it is.
There's
And
no
there are some
bargaining.
people. There are some people that are a little bit more left winged. Okay, because that's what they know. That's what they read in their news or whatever. But they are still good people. I do believe those people can be saved because still they are not completely like they can see there are games going on both sides.
Oh yeah,
Okay, even if they are a little bit more left leaning, those people they're not always like that. Georgia Rennick also says they can say whatever, but we have to stay quiet when there's a lot wrong with it. Absolutely. Like Ambro from Ambro Reactions, like she says, rules for thee, but not for me. That is the Democratic Party to a T. And that is the same way that Triple T and Adam Calhoun and Just in Time and all that treat Upchurch and their fans.
yeah.
Rules for thee, but not for me. It's so weird. They say that they're so right wing, but they're the first ones to act like liberals.
Oh yeah.
Um, he also says, I vote Republican, but the real truth is I'm a patriot more than anything. Absolutely. See, and that's where me and Stoner Man are coming from on that, Georgia Redneck. Like, you could be libertarian or you can feel conservative or whatever. It does not matter. What matters is where your allegiance lies to your country, where your allegiance lies to what the country was founded upon. You know, are you holding allegiance to that? Absolutely. He also says he does not watch the news anymore. And he said, believe it or not, I was raised Democrat. Georgia Reddick, I totally believe it. A lot of the South was raised Democrat because the Democrats back when, even whenever you were younger, you're younger than me, still at that point, were more so helping with programs for farmers. They were they not,
Yeah.
Sturmian? They would help with things like that. Now Republicans weren't as great at that time. Now it's kind of flip flopped. So I could totally see that because at that time, that is where the help for the people was coming from. Now here is where it kind of took a left turn. They offered help, but they also offered help to people that didn't even deserve it. They offered help to people to encourage them to stay on welfare and be on welfare and have more babies to get more money, right? It wasn't just people like, that truly needed help here and there. Okay. And they did that on purpose to encourage people to keep on voting Democrat, even in the future generations. And that's not what happened here with you and your family, because I know a little bit about your background from, you know, doing your bio on Shoto, right? Um, but instead of doing things to help people, which Stunnerman and I, we have nothing wrong with like helping farmers, helping ranchers. Dude, they are the backbone of our country. Where are we going to get our food from? You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going and you're supporting somebody just to have more kids and not work, to where those kids can grow up and have more kids and not work, and that cycle repeats, there's something wrong.
Yep, absolutely. So, like, it's just everyone's like, yeah, Republicans and Democrats kind of flipped from back in the day. You know, they have, but even still, just what the left has become, it's not even like just a difference of opinions. It's, like you said, it's like they're demons, and it's not just the blue hairs and all that. It's the politicians on that side as well, man. Like, the evil crap that they're into, the satanic fucking shit and all of that. Like, that's that's how they differ. I mean, I know that's been long going, and that's on both sides, man. But you know, it basically the Trump opposers, man. Like, there's
Right.
something wrong with these people, man, and you can see it in their eyes, man. It's like, why are you sitting there fucking throwing a tantrum like a fucking toddler, man? What is
Hmm.
wrong with you? You're a fucking adult. You want to be treated like an adult, but you're acting like a child.
Or if you are a politician and you're pushing past gates of an ICE location where illegal immigrants have been detained, that happened today, baby. I don't know if you know about that.
But I
Mayor
know. I
of
mean,
New
all those people.
Jersey, Mayor of New Jersey, going and sitting there, like not even peacefully protesting, pushing past a fence. He got arrested. And I'm glad he got arrested. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care who you were, I'm going to tell you right now, he needs to be held fully accountable for his actions today. Because all he did right there, and it wasn't just him, it was more than him. But that's the one that's been reported to be arrested, right?
Yeah.
If he is not held fully accountable to the full extent of the law, all he showed everybody out there, this is all you got to do. Just, have more people than I did and go out there and just do that. You're breaking the law.
Yeah. And that's
What
no
what
different.
about what about these little girls that were like SA'd to death by these illegal people?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but they have no rights compared to our little girls. They can go fuck themselves.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's no different than the politicians who are sitting there saying, we will not assist law enforcement, which, that's obstruction of justice right there. So that's illegal. And not only that, but they're sitting there and, handing out classified information and helping, illegal aliens basically evade ICE. Like, that's illegal as well. You're breaking the law, and then
Federal felony.
you want to sit
Federal
there and accuse
felony.
us of breaking the law. We
Right.
follow the
And
law. We respect law. You don't.
they need to hold him accountable to the highest extent of the law, because if they don't, all they're going to do is they're going to see a whole bunch of these posers that think they have like some sort of fucking make believe podium to stand on, feeling like they're like remake of hippies, like, oh, we're gonna free the immigrants. Like, we're so cool. All these hipster motherfuckers, they're gonna go out there and like do some shit like that. They need to nip this in the bud, is what they need to do.
Yep. All
You
right.
want to take
So
over for a second,
we
Stoner Man?
talked
I'll be
about.
right back.
Okay. So yeah, but I mean, really, that's just That's just the way the world's come to, man. You know, these politicians still have this like fucked up idea that they control us, that we work for them, and in a way we do. It has become that way. But per our rights as, American citizens, as human beings, we do not work for them. They work for us. You know, like the term civil servant. Nobody understands what that term civil servant means anymore. You know, they don't they just ignore the fact that we have say so over what they do. We can elect them, of course, but we also have our votes. We have our rights. But here's the thing: when your votes are being, fucked with, and you have, fucking dead people voting, and you have immigrants voting who aren't even registered. I know somebody whose daughter is in New Mexico, and when she went to vote, they didn't ask for ID. They didn't even ask her name, anything. It was just, here's a ballot, go. What the fuck, man? What in the fuck? Where is verifying your identity? Where is, checking your registration? When I voted, that's what I had to do. I had to show my ID. I had to show my voter registration. I had to be found on the list and all of that. And, I was assigned the ballot number and all of that. Like, what what's so wrong with that? Why is that a problem? How is that discrimination to require that? I mean, think about it this way. What country would want us going and just walking into their country and voting on what we feel is best for their country when we don't even fucking live there? We're not even citizens there. We're just coming on over, basically saying, hey, busting in the door, we're here to stay, and this is what we want to change. This is what we vote for. Who the hell are we? Like, dude, those other countries would have a fucking problem with us. Like, you can't do that. But we say that, and well, that's discrimination. How? How is that fucking discrimination to say that to have say so over my home, my country, my home, you have to actually be a citizen here. You have to live here too. That's like, inviting a friend over to your house and they're saying, well, these are the rules of the house now. No, you don't live here. You can't make rules of, over the house if you don't live here. So if you wouldn't let somebody walk into your house and make rules, why would you let somebody walk into your country and start making rules? That just seems logical to me. It seems like, I mean, that's a beautiful analogy. You're not going to be called a bigot because you're not going to let a stranger walk in your house and start telling you how to live. Why would that apply for your country? Alright, we got Kitty back, so we're going to move on to the preamble.
Sorry, baby. I get a little
Same.
emotional talking about this stuff. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Mhm.
So, does anybody know what the preamble is? Hopefully. Anybody? Anybody? Going once, going twice? Bueller? Bueller? So, the preamble is basically the start of the Constitution. Basically lines out this is what it is. Think of it like preface for a book, like, hey, this is what we're going to cover, this is what we're going to talk about, and all that good stuff. So, short, simple, but very powerful. So, let's read it off here. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty, to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Hmm.
What does that mean to you, Destiny?
So, to me, I always tend to look back on history, right? When they wrote this, they were under the British control, correct? And they were used to having like a monarchy system. So, whenever they were proposing this, they're like, okay, this is something we are proposing, like Stutterman said. This is like, like a prerequisite of what we're going to go over. And basically, it's basically telling Britain at that time, we are going to liberate ourselves. And this is, your choice or not, but this is our proposal. That's basically what I'm getting from that.
Right. And see, that is true. But when you break it down, so in order to form a more perfect union, let's just simplify this. We're trying to make a better place, right?
Better than where they came from,
Exactly.
which was Britain at the time.
Exactly. Establish justice. So, hey, make sure everything's fair. Make sure if you break the law, you face the consequences. Ensure domestic tranquility. Hey, make sure everyone's happy and healthy and we're living our lives. Provide for the common defense. Ensure that our people here are protected from anybody who wants to come into our territory and, you know, fuck our shit up, try to take our ideals away from us, try to change how we live, or say, you know, like we were just talking about, people coming in and, voting and trying to change rules in our home when they don't even fucking live there. Everything from that to, yeah, somebody wants to come in and try to cause harm and damage to our country, and attack us. Defense against that. It's defense in general. It doesn't say defense against, any particular type of weapon. So promote the general welfare, of course, making sure everyone's happy and healthy and doing well. Secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, making sure that we maintain our rights, our freedom, our free
And the thing
will.
about posterity, it is also talking about the future generations. It isn't just
Absolutely.
this generation when you talk about posterity.
And that's the thing. All of these documents are with that foresight of, hey, we've looked at history, we've seen, before how people have tried to run countries and everything, we've seen it all fail. This is the way that we believe is best because this is truly about the people. This isn't about, a kingdom, a king, a, royal family, a dictator, one single person, what is best for them and what they want. This is about everybody in the country. If you are a citizen, this is about you. And they had the foresight to say, we can see how this could all be taken away. Say we make all this happen, we make this free country, we see how this can be taken away. So we're going to put the safeguards in place to make sure it cannot ever be taken away. But, of course, if pay attention, that's exactly what they're trying to do. I mean, how many people just blatantly fucking ignore constitutional rights? How many people
Right.
say, well, we need to change it, it no longer applies? That is something I hate hearing, is that the
Mm,
Constitution is outdated or it no longer applies or times were different then. Yes, times were different then, but certain things don't change, man. freedom
Absolutely.
and rights, the right to defend your home, to defend your family, whatever it may be, you like, you can't take that away from somebody, man. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
what time it is. If it's, 17, hundreds to the 2000s to the fucking, year 1 million. These are all basic rights that everyone should have, regardless of what time it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I've kind of gone over this a little bit with other people who vote differently than I have. And, you know, they are concerned with like energy, green energy, whatever. And I'm like, okay, here's the thing. If I have a candidate who's going to more so, support constitutional rights versus whatever energy they're pushing, right? I'm going to go with the constitutional guy. The reason why, once once those rights have been taken away, good luck ever getting them back. Once they
Yep.
change them, good luck ever getting it back the way it was. With energy stuff, that
And
can
that's why it's harder
change.
now.
Every administration, every like even the same dude in office can be like can change his mind, be like, okay, let's try this route. Okay, honestly, I'd rather have freedom. I would rather have my freedoms.
Yep. Because, dude, everything else is small shit we can work out later. If we don't have our
Absolutely.
basic rights and freedoms, what's the point of arguing over, how to preserve our life on this planet? You know?
How many of you in the chat right now, or even, if you go back and you do a replay on this, how many of you have any ancestors that fought in the Revolutionary War? I would love to hear it.
So Georgia said, "Look at what happened to us when the Southern people, when they tried to take our guns and started a war. What they think would happen, even today, you can't take our freedom." And see,
Mm,
and that's the thing is, they're too, they're too damn scared to do that. That's why they haven't yet, man. They know that
they're still trying.
we're not gonna go down, without a fight, and because we'd rather go down than to live on our knees, and that scares them, man. It really does. It truly fucking scares them. That's the
Absolutely.
only reason we're
Because there's more
still
of us than
we're
there are of them.
yep. And I mean, you saw the map. You saw the results of the election. They see those numbers,
Hmm.
man. And that's the thing
Hmm.
is, oh well, look at 4 years ago. Look at the map then. Yeah, yeah. That wasn't accurate, man. There
No,
was
that
voter
election was
fraud out
stolen.
the ass. That was a stolen election. There have been. This was not the first stolen election either.
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
So don't compare those maps. Let's look at the one where people were finally fed the fuck up. Yep.
Hmm.
All right. Let's go over the First Amendment. Freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. Hey guys, we can do a whole series of videos over this, so we're just kind of hitting the highlights. But so Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That's fucking ignored nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Hmm.
you know, like where is this upheld? Because our own president got censored on social media. And you can say, well, the social media the platform has its own right to allow what content and what not. But this isn't like a fan club. This isn't like, I don't know. Let's think of a game that's popular. Fortnite. This isn't like a Fortnite fan club or some shit. I don't even know if they call them fan clubs anymore. I might be dating myself here on this, but online, like some like social media where all these fans hang out and shit like that. Dude, this is a platform where news was trying to be you know distributed, man. People were trying to talk about issues and what was going on in the world, man, because I think, you know, yeah, back in the day, yeah, news station got a call, got a lead or a tip or whatever, and then, they had to drive out and set up the cameras and, get the story and report it and all of this stuff, and there's employees that go into this. Nowadays, people have to do is pull out their phone, and record something happening, and then post it, and then the whole world can see. Oh shit! Look what's going on over here. What in the hell? So people are trying to use this to inform other people of what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get that's technically a gray area, but that's where I feel like some reform could come in. Okay, if you're going to be an open platform where anybody can supposedly come on, start a group for anything, say whatever. You need to stand true to that and not censor things that don't fit the narrative you're told to allow. And now we
Mm-hmm.
have fucking AI going in and bots crawling in. Okay, here are these keywords. We got Patriot, we got Trump. I don't see anything bad about Trump, so yep, flag it.
Right.
Oh, here's one with Trump's name. Okay, yeah, they're trashing them. Okay, yeah, we can greenlight this one. AI's doing all this shit now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's censorship out the ass. There are some patriotic artists. Look at Playboy, still being fucking censored, man.
Yeah.
Look at how the J6ers got fucking treated, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, guys, there is no freedom of speech. There's no freedom of expression. They're trying to take religion away. There's no freedom of religion anymore, man. There's hardly ever been a freedom of religion through time, man. There's always somebody wanting somebody to believe something different.
Right.
Why does it matter? If you're a good
Mm-hmm.
person, you uphold the law, and you can respect other people's human rights. Who fucking cares what you believe?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kid, do you have anything else to add to this one before we move on?
I want you to move on, and then we're going to loop back to that one because I have something to add to that.
Gotcha. So, Second Amendment. Of course, these are the two big ones right here. First Amendment,
Mm-hmm.
Second Amendment. Right to bear arms. A well regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Shall not be infringed. And what is the meaning of infringed, Sonran?
Like, basically they're saying you cannot try to change it, you cannot denounce it, you cannot take it away, you cannot say that this does not imply any of that.
Actively break the terms of a law or agreement. So,
Yep,
exactly, trying to
yep.
change it. And what are they trying to do? They are trying to, oh, well, they weren't talking about automatic, assault rifle. You know, um, they were talking about anything.
Yeah.
What
Does it
is
say
the meaning
musket?
of
Does
shall
it
not
say
be infringed? Does that mean? What do you
does it
think
say
that means?
musket? Does it say only black powder? Does it say cannons? Dude, they had fucking cannons back then. Do you see people trying to roll a cannon down the street? Come on, man. Like, there is no definition of what kind of arm at all.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. Yeah, we all focus on that part. Yeah, you can't take it away, damn straight. But there's more to it than that. A well regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Who is the militia? We the people.
Mhm.
We're all the fucking militia, motherfucker. We are all the
Mhm.
militia. Being
Shout out
necessary.
to all of you who have ancestors who were in the militia. What's up? Let's go. Shout it out.
The
Be proud
Minutemen.
of your ancestry.
Heck yeah. Anybody know? Remember the Minutemen? Anybody know who they are? So, being necessary to the security of a free state. So, that word, security, does it say against being necessary to defend against outside invaders? Does it say against anything in particular? It says necessary to the security. What is security? You can think of financial security. I'm taken care of. I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to have concern about it. To the security, okay, security of your home. Hey, nobody's gonna be able to break in, and if somehow they do, I have an alarm system and I'm armed, I can defend myself, I can defend my family and my home. It doesn't say, like, it doesn't define any specific circumstance or instance. It says to the security. Well, what if that's not even a physical threat? What if that's just against anybody who wants to, what was that word, Kitty? Infringe upon your rights. What is the government trying to do? Infringe upon our rights.
Mm-hmm.
Who do they have that they can use, brute force against us with? The military.
Mm-hmm.
Private, soldiers even. We have a right to defend ourselves against those politicians and whatever forces they use against us.
Mm-hmm.
We control the politicians, hence the title civil servant. Policeman or civil servant, anybody who works with the government is a civil servant. They work for us. We don't work
And
for.
that's something that everybody forgets nowadays. They're like, oh, like they treat them like they're some kind of royalty or some shit, and they're not. Bitch,
Yeah,
I pay your salary with my taxes. You work for me. Like, wherever you do Congress at, that's my house. That ain't your house. That may be where you sit there to meet with other congressmen and to debate to pass laws or not pass laws or whatever. That's my house. That's not your house because I paid for it.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I can't come back up. George says, I have kin that fought for the Confederate Army. That's why I stand for the Confederate flag and other reasons. Fuck yeah, man. And dude, since you brought it up, how fucking dare they tear down our statues, man? How fucking dare they?
Mm-hmm. So this goes all into um, why I believe they're trying to attack church so much, being an independent artist, standing for the South like a true Southern, you know, man. Um, and you have a lot of other independent artists that are Southern men and truly stand for this. It's all tied together. It's all tied together. They do not want that Southern spirit. They want us down and to stay down.
Yeah.
Now, you hear the saying, the South is going to rise again. The South already rose again, and they know
Still
it,
rising. It's still
and it's
rising.
still rising. And we're in the shadows, and they know it, and they're trying to stomp us down, is what they're trying to do.
Well, it's like when they were like, yeah, we're gonna come after all of you, you know, I can't remember how they phrased it, but when they were going after like the Proud Boys and all that shit, making threats, all those memes, and that shit was true. Those memes were fucking true, man. Like, dude, I'd love to see you try, man. I'll be
Right.
fucking, in a ghillie suit, fucking, sitting right next to you. Anybody ever seen Clear and Present Danger? When fucking what's his name? Chavez, when they're doing the sniper training and they're trying to, he's got the spotter up there with binoculars, he's like trying to pick out the guys in the ghillie suit, teach them stealth and all that, and they're like, they can't fucking find Ding, like Chavez, and he keeps like pinging the metal, whatever the fuck it was, like, where is he, show yourself, and he like stands up, he's like right there in front of him. Like, dude, that's the kind of shit they're gonna be going up against. It's like, dude, bring it fucking on. You don't know, you can't walk out into the fucking woods and stuff, like, in the country and shit, and you know when somebody who has lived there, maybe grown up there all their life, know every fucking inch of that land like the back of their hand. You think you're gonna walk up in there and try to get the jump on us? You're
Or
only
like the movie, or like the movie Mexican.
like the what?
Like I Mexican, it was a different kind of like opponent in that movie, right? But
Who was
remember, how
that?
do
I
you
keep
watch
cutting
it?
out on the audio. You keep
Next
cutting
of
out.
Kin.
Next of kin.
Yeah, with Patrick Swayze. How do you watch it? You never watched it before.
Oh yeah, I
Uh
vaguely
huh.
remember that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It was like Hillbillies versus Mafia, dude.
yeah.
And like, granted, let's just put somebody in the mafia's place, whether it's outsiders from a different country or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, they wouldn't know what hit them.
Hell
Not
no,
once. Mm-mm.
not at all.
Mm-mm.
All right. Search and seizure, Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
Okay, can I say something here?
What's up, Ricky? What's going on,
What's
brother?
up, Ricky? Hey, bud. Okay, I'm gonna put both you and Georgia Redneck's sites in the chat. You guys that are doing the replay, these are both independent artists. Be sure to check out their music. I'm gonna have their links in live chat. So I'm gonna say something about this Amendment 4. If a cop comes up to you and he's like, "Oh, you have a headlight out," or "Oh, you ran through that stop sign," or "Oh, you're sitting at a park here with your friends, but I can't see anything illegal, but can I search your car?" You have every right to deny that officer because he does not have a warrant.
Exactly. But there's a trick to that. And guys, I'm not saying I know the law. I just know what I've read and shit like that and what I've experienced. So, do your own research on this. But there's a trick to that. Because if an officer asks, "Can I search your car?" and you say no, legally, you saying no gives him probable cause by the fact that you are not being open, more or less. I can't remember how they exactly legally phrase that, but by saying no, you are giving them probable cause, which allows them to search. Now, if you say yes, of course, that's an invitation. So what you have to say is, what is the exact wording? I do not consent to you searching my vehicle. May I please see a warrant? And that covers you right there. And like, you know, man, we support the blue all the way. Man, law enforcement, we respect the military, all of that. You know, man, I have nothing against cops. I have a problem against dirty cops and assholes. That's what I have a problem with. Dude, you're gonna find assholes anywhere you go in life, whether it's cops or, you know, the dude working at the gas station, whatever, man. Nobody's perfect. You're gonna have the crooked ones out there. There's no reason to throw everyone into a basket, but you do have a right to protect yourself, and a good officer of the law is not going to, be a dick when you say, no, I do not consent, or I'm sorry, I do not consent to you searching my vehicle. He's going to be like, well, that's your right. I don't feel like fucking with getting a warrant and doing all this shit. So man, you're not hurting nobody. Just move on along. Get that headlight fixed or whatever. Like
Right.
if he really wants to be a dick, he might write you a ticket. But like you have your right, man. If you're doing wrong, you did wrong, dude. You got weed smell pouring out your fucking window. That's probable cause, dude. Don't be a little more careful, man. Like, you know, dude, I always say check your vehicle, man. Be responsible. Make sure you don't have a brake light out or a tail light out. Like, don't give them a reason to pull you over. You won't have any trouble, man. But they're at the end of the day, they're just doing their fucking job. So Ricky said all they have to do is run a canine around it and act like it hit on something. Yeah, I do believe that you know, they there are a lot of them that do kind of, carry a little something on them so that they can get a false hit like that. There's crookedness everywhere, man. That's what this is all about, is ending the fucking corruption, man. Getting back to basic human rights and shit. And, this isn't about hating on cops or, loving on cops. Like, dude, this is just, they're doing their job. We all have our rights. Unless you're trying to hurt somebody, let's just fucking move on, dude. You're going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. Okay, well, it's not a school zone. You're not putting anybody in danger. Dude, just whatever. But back to this. So, the right of the people to secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. Like, these people being raided, they don't, they haven't done anything wrong. All they did was piss people off. And the reason they pissed them off was because they were saying, hey, these people are corrupt, they're breaking the law, they're doing this shit here, and just trying to make the people aware. And they're getting raided, dude. What the fuck, man? It's intimidation, is all it is. It's intimidation, man, and that, and blowing their fucking time and money on lawyers and shit to try not to go to fucking prison over nothing. But anyway, trying to kill a little time till Key gets back. There she is. There she is. Sort of said, you don't want to come grab me
100%.
with the pistol on the floor, one bag of weed, and see the tags are expired. Words of legend riding up church. Dude, I love that one where he's like, can't remember, he's like, Tom, he's like, you want, no, you cannot search my shit. Go get a warrant. Don't wake up, Judge Maxie. Trust me, skin. Like, dude, you don't want to waste his time or some dumb shit. He knows I ain't hurting nobody.
All right, and the words of a famous legal assistant, not famous, but in the words of, for me, who used to be a legal assistant and dealt with the criminal side of things. If you got a court date, you show up, you make sure you dress up, you make sure that you are not wearing any saggy pants, you're not wearing a hat in the courtroom. You say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. You're respectful and everything else that will get you a lot further.
And don't do it because you're in court and you're fucking in trouble. Do it because that's the way you should fucking act to everybody. It doesn't matter
That
if
is
there's a
the way you
fucking
should act.
judge up there or not.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be fucking fake, man. Go in there, realize you did fucking wrong. Be courteous, be respectful.
And if
Show
you
that you're
feel
not a piece of shit. You won't get treated like a piece of shit.
right, and there are sometimes where the cards are stacked against people and they are actually truly innocent, and they're doing all that and it's not doing anything. You just keep on doing that. It's frustrating and everything else. There are appeal processes and everything else for this.
Absolutely. So the Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation.
Mhm.
So, once again, another one that's been violated. So basically, what this is saying is, you cannot be punished until you have been given due process of law, gone through each step of the judicial system, and have been, proven to be guilty and sentenced, and then you can be punished. And of course, rules are different for military and time of war, depending on what your role is. But it's it's like this is another one, man. Like, so many people are just so quickly accused, man, in so many different areas, and it's not even people in the political realm, so to speak. It's you know actors and musicians and everyday fucking people on social media, independent news. It's everything, man. It's like, bam, you're now a pariah because of this trumped up fucking charge. Like, I believe there's a lot of innocent people who are doing a lot of time and have done a lot of time when they had not deserved it, because they were not given that due process of law. They were denied their rights.
And I mean, if you look at that last little part right there, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation.
Yep.
Look at Missouri. Look at what happened in the 1800s. What started the James Younger um, gang? The railroad company. The railroad wanted bits and pieces of that land through Missouri. And a lot of the people there were like, no, F you, this is our land. I don't care what you're offering for it, we're not going to agree to it. And what ended up happening? So these bigger elite people, they know how to work around even, sometimes the Constitution. They try to break your spirit.
Yep. And, like, dude, look, perfect example, the J6ers.
Hmm.
And a lot of those guys didn't do shit, man. And some of them were even picked up after they had already left, gone home, just because they were there.
I won't
You
get onto you too hard, Georgia.
Like, dude, those people were taken away from their families, man. And not only that, but they weren't in prison. They were in hell, dude. they were in hell. They were not treated at the same even respect that, serial killers and, SAers were.
Mm-hmm.
These people did nothing wrong and were treated less than human, less than animals.
Oh my gosh, the people on the left, if they're illegal immigrants, were in facilities like our J6ers or treated in any sort of way like our J6ers.
They don't want to talk about the cages. Hell no.
Mm.
Hell no. They don't want to talk about that shit. So, we've got some other ones here that kind of touch on the judicial side. Right to a speedy trial by jury, witnesses and counsel. Um, let's go to this one since we're just talking about the the J6ers here. Here's the Eighth Amendment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted.
Oh,
We
so no cruel and unusual punishments, Stonerman? None?
exactly.
So you can't break, somebody's hand and not allow them to seek medical treatment while they're in there?
And think about this. You like the Geneva Convention. There are outlines of what you can do regarding prisoners of war, what kind of rights they have. Like, okay, you have to feed them. You have to give them sustenance. You have to give them I think there's even something in there about giving them the right to their prayer sessions and stuff like that. Those are people we classified as terrorists. But then again, I say that these people were fucking classified as terrorists too. But here's the thing, dude. Most of those people were not fucking doing anything wrong. How are you being labeled a terrorist? People who support Trump are labeled as domestic terrorists. Who was the one getting shot at?
Mm-hmm.
But we're the domestic terrorists. We're not shooting at people. We're not
Right.
trying to assassinate anybody. The other side is.
Mm-hmm.
But we're the terrorists. That's like saying fucking 1 plus 1 equals 50. No, no,
Mm-hmm.
not even fucking close.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the math wrong.
Right.
But here's the thing, dude. Like, you know, SAers, offenders, get rights. Why the fuck are you getting a right? The shit.
Why are PDF files getting rights?
Exactly. Like, dude, if anybody should be denied rights, it is them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm saying, okay, you know what? They're human. They are human. Give them a meal. Make sure that they have 3 squares a day. I'm not saying give them a fucking, 5 course fucking meal. I'm saying give them a peanut butter sandwich. Give them an apple. Give them a carton of milk. Give them a well balanced meal because that is the human thing to do. But they don't, they don't need to be able to get out and be a part of everyone else. They don't need to have the same prison sentence as somebody who stole a car. Okay, Grand Theft
So,
Auto. That is nowhere near. You stole a car versus you offended somebody. There's a world of difference, man. There's a fucking massive difference. A kid, taking that innocence away from a kid, you're gonna put that person in with somebody who stole a fucking car or stole a baseball card or a pack of gum. What the fuck, dude? No, not even close.
so you're nicer than me, babe, because I'd be like, yeah, beat them like you would everybody. Like, everybody has right to like not starve, right? We're not talking about bread and water. Yeah, do that until you can do a Vlad the Impaler thing
Oh
on
yeah.
them. They all
No,
deserve that.
I'm just talking about final
Um,
days here. Like,
mhm.
I agree.
And take
A
a
dead,
week waiting for that pole to reach up to the top of your skull.
you know,
I'm good with that.
a dead offender does not reoffend. I'm a firm believer
Mm,
in that, and I don't feel like
hmm
there is no chance of rehabilitation with these people.
No, there's
You're a
not.
thief. You can be rehabilitated. You can see the light and say, okay, I need to stop doing this. I'm taking money out of somebody's hardworking mouth. But you know that messing with the kids, no, you're done. That's it. You're out. Hey, I'm talking final days. Like, you are given due process of law because there are people who have been falsely accused. We don't want to do that to somebody. We want to make sure
Hmm
these people are guilty. Give them the due
hmm
process of law because that is the American right. That's what we do. That's what we stand for. We find them guilty. Okay, here's your sentence. These are your final days. We will treat you as a human in your final days. You're not getting privileges. Hell no, you're not getting privileges. You're getting your rights. But when that time is up, you're out. You're done.
hmm
Lethal
Absolutely.
injection, whatever it may be. Like, yes, I'm all for some more, brutal Viking way of doing it. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, what really matters is that they are no longer here and they are no longer a threat to our kids, our women, anybody. At the end of the
Right.
day, all that matters is they're not around. They will not reoffend because they ain't breathing no more.
It's been taken care of. Absolutely. What's up, Taurus girl?
Hey, how you doing, Taurus? Thank you for joining us tonight. But yeah, and like I said, man, you know, I'm all for that swift justice right now. If you're the father and you catch somebody in the act and you do it right then and there, you were a
Texas
witness. You
just
saw what's going on. Fuck yeah, yeah. Officers show up and crime scene investigators, and they say, "Yep, that's what happened." Yeah, he may not have gotten the due process of law, but he was caught in the act. Somebody defended his family, offed him. You're not going to jail. You're not going to be punished for that. You did what you had a right to do.
Yeah,
Nothing
Texas
wrong
just
with
did
that.
that for that dude that caught somebody doing that with his with his daughter
Yeah, and fuck yeah, to Texas
last
for
year.
that, man. Hell yeah.
hmm They're like, oh no, you're good, you're good.
Yep. Georgia said death row inmates get a last meal, or they did. I don't know about now, but it's whatever they want. And guess whose money paid for? Paid us.
See,
Yep.
I agree with that. See, I come from Texas where it was kind of like, yeah, we've always had the death penalty, and we used to make it like try to go through it kind of quicker than other states because we're like, let's go, let's get the show on the road. Taxpayers are paying for it. I agree with that.
Yep.
You
We don't
know,
need to
I
be
mean,
paying for them to,
not for 30 years.
stay alive for that long. No.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
And why? Right to a speedy trial by jury, witness, and counsel. Speedy. Mean quick. Let's get it over
Mhm.
with. There's no reason to drag this shit on, man. I mean, dude, I dealt with a pretty severe traffic violation that went on for like damn near a year. Like, why did it need to go on that long? Were there so many fucking appearances needed to be made and all that shit? This is bullshit, man. Like, can I just do what I gotta do and let's just get this over with and get it all fixed? Why did that have to go on for a
Mhm.
year? And that was a fucking, like I said, pretty extreme traffic violation, but still was a traffic violation. Imagine how long, a murder case goes on for. It's too damn
Mhm.
long.
Mhm.
So here's another good one. 10th Amendment. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. But who controls the states? The people.
Mm-hmm.
So, even when it comes down to abortion, whatever your viewpoint of abortion is, the state still has a right to choose whether or not they allow that. That was given to the states, and they were allowed to make their own decision on that. But then people are trying to override that and say, no, the government needs to control that. But the government can't control it because why? The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution. Where in the Constitution does it define that the government has the power or authority over your choice of what you do with your own body? And that can be abortion, that can be vaccines, that can be the food that you put in your body. Nobody can tell you, dude, you want to go drink, bleach? I'm not saying you should do it, but you have a right to fucking do it. And that's like suicide. It's illegal to commit suicide. Why? Why is it illegal? I'm not saying you should at all, but why is it illegal? Why does the government care? Well, yeah, we're not cogs in the machine anymore. They need, the cogs in the machine to keep the money flowing. We go out, work, we earn money, that money's earned. We have to go buy shit to survive, food or materials for repairs, whatever. We're taxed on that. We're taxed on our property, we're taxed on our vehicles, we're taxed on fucking everything. You know, us living is beneficial to the government. Bingo, right there. But where in the Constitution does it allow the government to have that kind of control? Where in the Constitution does it say that the power, like to decide whether or not you should be administered a vaccine, lies within the government?
Mm-hmm.
Another one that's ignored. Another one. So we've got a lot of them here, guys. Like I said, we're just gonna kind of hit some of the
Absolutely,
highlights
Taurus
on this
girl.
one. We still got some shit to go over here.
Absolutely, Taurus girl. I agree with you on
So
that one. 100%.
actually, I'm gonna touch on this one real quick, just so I can point out a little hypocrisy here. So the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. So we were talking earlier, Kitty, I think you were out for a second, but about, you know, how voter ID and registration is considered discrimination. And we were talking about, well, you won't let a stranger come into your house and make rules. Why would you let a stranger come into your country and make rules? How is it discrimination to require voter registration and ID when it says the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied? Citizens, if you're not a citizen, you didn't, this does not apply to you. This applies to citizens. You're not a citizen, this does not apply to you. That's not discrimination, that's just fucking law. Law only applies when it's beneficial to the motherfuckers, trying to have their fucking way. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. They shall have the power to enforce this.
Mm-hmm.
Income tax. This is a good one. 16th Amendment. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes for whatever source derived without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. So, this one here, and this is really, really misunderstood now. Read this carefully. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes. So we're talking here about the Constitution, the power of it, about enforcing it, and how it is no longer enforced in a lot of ways. This is one that everyone tries to. This is a amendment everyone tries to enforce, but they're not enforcing it properly. They're misunderstanding it. So the argument is about, say, like, Trump talking about getting rid of income tax and all of that. Well, you can't do that. We have laws that state that, we have to collect income tax. Congress shall have the power, meaning they have the power to. It does not say they are required to. It does not say that they shall. It says they shall have power to. So, they have the ability to, but does that ability have to be exercised? And I
Does
can.
it
Sorry, go ahead, Katie.
does it say they have it doesn't word it as they have the right to. It doesn't
Look,
say that, like,
it kind of sort of does.
it does, but not necessarily. And that's what we're talking about wording here.
Yeah, and I heard a segment on the radio, and I thought the analogy was perfect. So you're driving down the road, you have a speed limit sign that says 45. Does that mean you have to go 45? No. That is the limit, the maximum speed. So, by law, you're not supposed to go above that designated speed. But you can go 40, you can go 35, you can go 30, whatever. You just can't go above 45. So, if you can use that analogy here, Congress has the power to collect income tax, but it's not required. They don't have to do it. They have the power to do it, but they don't have to. Say you're the owner of a company. You have the power to fire anybody, but you're not going to do it unless you have a reason to, right? So you're not just going to go around firing, your employees just for the fucking hell of it. No, you have the power to do it, but you're not going to exercise that power unless you need to. So in the same concept, Congress doesn't have to collect these taxes. There's nothing that says income tax has to be. It just says that there can be. And that is so fucking misunderstood. What's up, just doing? Hope you have a good Friday, man. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. And anybody who's watching this on replay or in the live chat, if y'all not have subscribed to Just Doing Podcasting, they're excellent podcasts. These last two episodes they did blew me away.
Yes.
Y'all should totally check that out. I have that shared as a post on my channel, and as well as Stoner Man does as well. I'm going to share their link over here in the live chat.
Heck yeah. Yeah, definitely check out our buddies over there. They are awesome, guys. Um, but yeah, that was the last two episodes. Anybody who likes a deep dive, you know, um, it's awesome to check out, man. Some really deep shit there. I don't want to go too much into it and spoil it, but definitely check that out, guys. So those are kind of the hot ones I wanted to touch on. Kitty, I know you had some stuff that you wanted to throw in tonight. You want to go ahead and hit that?
I do. So, anybody in the chat, what does true patriotism mean to you guys? What does that mean? And I know that we're a little bit ahead than what they see on their screens, so I'm going to give that a few minutes. As well, I have one thing I want to share, and this is something that I found earlier today. Just kind of scrolling on X and whatever. I know that a lot of us, especially the people in the chat, were more like conservative, more patriots, all that stuff. If you're seeing this on replay, chances are you're probably a patriot yourself. But how many of you pay attention to your state and the local government? All of us know about the federal because that's just like, it seems like it's almost more well known than the state government, at least where we live. So want to give you all a few minutes on that.
Kitty, can you hear me?
I can.
I lost you on audio. Hey guys, can you all hear? Can you all hear Kitty? Hey, Kate, make sure you check your microphone volume up in the taskbar there on their applications. Make sure your mic didn't get muted somehow.
Where's the applications?
Kitty, how about now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I still don't have audio on you.
Justin says they can hear us
Huh.
loud and clear. Oh, only
Looks
you
like the
can't hear me.
looks like the chat can hear you. I'm not sure what's going on my end. But I'm gonna pull you up on live so I can hear what you're saying, Kitty. If you want to take it from here, cover your part.
All right. So let's see here. Nobody answered what does patriotism, you guys. So I'm going to just pull up the definition of patriotism. The quality of being patriotic, devotion to and vigorous support for one's country. So let's break that down to patriot. Patriot definition: a person who vigorously supports their country and is prepared to defend it against enemies or detractors. And a detractor is someone who disparages someone or something. If you're talking about a detractor of the United States, that is somebody who what? Talks crap about the United States, talks crap about, person in office. And it's okay not to be okay with people in office if that's somebody you didn't vote for. Like, we all have freedom of speech. But a person that basically, sorry, Stonerman was asking me a question. Yeah, it's on the application. I just asked you a question, Stonerman, about where to find the application. So
Hey,
I
I
don't
got
know.
you back. We're good. We're good.
Okay. So that is somebody who is, somebody who, like, let's say they burn your flag. So you're going to defend the United States against this person. Yeah, if you don't like the USA, then leave. Bye-bye. Exactly.
Heck yeah. You gotta be here.
Back in the Biden and Obama days, I was not okay with either one of them whatsoever, did not like them whatsoever. I had my issues, but they were all political issues. It wasn't like I was over here attacking somebody as a person, okay, with either one of them. All right. It was for what they stood for, and it was crap. It was crap. Um, and in that way, I did not, go against the United States, even though they were in office at that time. So that is what a patriot means to me as well. I asked this earlier. How many of you guys in the chat have revolutionary ancestors? I had revolutionary ancestors and I had revolutionary militia ancestors. So I'm like a double whammy. I'm like, yeah, you can't tell me what to do. I don't care. I don't care. My ancestors paid that price. Like, and I know they paid the price and know what they had to do to pay the price. And I'm sorry what all you people are trying to make it about right now, but that's not the United States and that's not what they wanted to be. And I'm going to make sure that it is going to be what they're saying it needs to be. So, again, going back to states. Georgia, obviously, I know you're in Georgia. What states are y'all in? I think Gabe, I think I know what state you're in. I think I've heard you mention it before. Taurus, what state you in? Yeah, go smash that like button. Thank you, Justin. But yeah, list off whatever state you're in. And then I don't know about whatever state y'all are in, but like for us, it is harder to know what's going on in your state than it is the national level. If that's just me, let me know. Because I'm going to actually play something to where y'all can hear this. It's shocking. It's shocking. And Stennerman does not know about this. I was waiting to play it because I wanted to get his reaction on this. So,
Heck yeah, let's do it.
Oregon, okay. Are you getting, Taurus, are you getting state news over there or is it more national? Like, I mean, of course you can get your state news, but I mean, is national just better well known in your state as well? Let us know. All right, you ready, Stoner Man?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, this is from newly elected representative in Oklahoma, Gabe Woolley. He went on a podcast yesterday or today, and the caption of this article was basically, we, as in Oklahoma, have been paying reparations for the descendants of the Tulsa race riots since 2001. This person also mentions, I also learned that teaching some things from our Bible are no longer legal. You ready?
Yeah.
Or do you want to say a few things? Because I could tell you're like, what?
Well, I'm just like, it was such a big deal. Like about, and Gabe, that's fucking funny, man. I know.
Babe,
But
what did I tell you about talking about that in public?
oh man, I know. I got a problem, okay? I got a problem. I'm trying to fix it. But no, there was such a big deal that Oklahoma, was that like 6 months ago, they were trying to pass a bill to actually fund putting Bibles on every desk in every school in the state. And it finally passed, and then there was this whole like scandalous sounding, news report talking about, yeah, so it got approved and all of this, but it was so bad and such a bad deal because there was a much cheaper offer offered and it was turned down, and this was a waste of money, and this could have been done more affordably, and this was a waste of the taxpayers' money, and they're trying to make it sound like this was such a it was such a negative thing. Okay, yeah, maybe we could have done it cheaper, done it better,
And the man that was pushing it.
but we're not focusing on, hey, we got Bibles back in school. Cool. Where's the joy for the win in that? It was like, ignore the win, focus on this small little loss.
The man that was pushing that, you guys in the chat, is Ryan Walters. He was a superintendent for like the Board of Education here in Oklahoma. He was totally for Trump cutting down the Board of Education, even though that was kind of what he does. He was the one who was trying to fully implement getting those Bibles on the desks. And ever since then, he has been attacked in every sort of way possible, every which way possible, including by our own governor.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and play this, which, by the way, both are also conservative. Interesting, right? I'm going to go ahead and play this again. This is Gabe Woolley on a podcast. I do not know the name of the podcast. This is from an X post. Okay, he was just elected this year.
About the scholarship for those who are descendants of the Tulsa race riots, is that correct?
Yeah, this was basically something that had been in place, I believe, for about 24 years, and it was offering a scholarship, state funded, so the taxpayers are paying for this scholarship, and it would go to the descendants of those hurt or killed in the Tulsa race massacre.
Okay. So we can take just a moment and.
So it isn't just going to go to the people of the Tulsa, the Tulsa massacre. And I'm sorry, Stonerman, let's back this up. People that are not from the state, could you kind of go over what the Tulsa massacre was?
Like, basically, it was the big race riot in Tulsa. And, like, I don't know if anyone ever heard about the bookstore burning and all of that. But
in the 1930s, you guys, 1930s.
Yeah, I mean, it was, to me, it was more of just the typical, bullshit of just, the extremists out there trying to ignite that whole ideal that, the people in Oklahoma, the people in the South in general were these, Ku Klux Klan motherfuckers, like.
Right, that's the agenda they pushed.
It was staged, man. It's no different than the murder building or anything, man. It was all just a move on the chessboard, is all it really was.
Right. So me being from Texas, you guys, I'll tell you what I learned from it. This is Okie native. You just heard that from right here. Me moving up here, I never knew about it until after I was up here for a little while. So how I learned about it, what I know from what I learned. Basically, there was like this whole like neighborhood, street, whatever, very successful Black people. And they were like upper middle class. They did very well for themselves. They kind of were a tight knit community and everything else. And some people that were like Ku Klux Klan or whatever went in there and just pretty much massacred men, women, children, whatever. And I that's not saying that it couldn't have been staged to further divide that, right? Now, this is back in the 1930s, though, you guys. So with that being in the 1930s, that's what they're saying right here on this podcast, is this is going to go towards the future descendants as well. How long are we going to be paying this? I'm going to continue to hit play. You ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Consider that. Okay, would we consider that reparations?
Yeah, that would be reparations. People kind of skirt that argument by saying, well, if you're not writing them a check, it's not reparations. But if you are basically writing a check via taxpayer dollars to really anything that is on behalf of something that forcing taxpayers essentially or other people to pay for something that they did not perpetrate and cause themselves on behalf of some descendants of victims, if you go back far enough, that I would consider that reparations.
And when did this bill? When it's currently in place, or was this a new bill proposed this year?
No, this scholarship is in place. This would have been to extend it.
Okay. So that's my question: is when did this pass? And I'm curious about the conservative legislators who were involved in passing it, And because it points to something else I want to talk about, it's just the number of bills we see moving through the system that provoke emotion, and you have quote unquote good causes that get quote unquote conservative votes, but in the end undermine what conservatism is.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how you do it. You jam pack it with emotions. You give an emotional debate on the floor of things that maybe some are true, maybe some are a little skewed.
And this is what I love about this representative. From day one, he's conservative, you know, and from day one, he has said what he's about, and he has not changed since. And he is calling out all these other fake these rhinos that are in Oklahoma that are in office right now. And he's telling you guys how they get elected. They go out there, they pull a motion from the public, and they pretend to be on this platform and stand for these certain things, and they're not. They'll go with whichever the way the wind blows.
Heard arguments that are factual. We had a bill about mammograms for breast cancer, and that the author on that was certainly accurate and everything, and not deceptive, just honest and forward. But the question was, is this the responsibility of the taxpayer for something like this? And then you have other arguments like the anti-Semitism bills or the reparations bills that maybe aren't as accurate or factual and a little deceptive.
Okay, so I want to get to those, the anti-Semitism bill, but the amendment you had on this, it required it to be based on merit, which is something that is emphasized much.
So basically, he's going into this bill that they've had in place for the Tulsa riot, right, baby?
Yeah.
And the only thing that he could do, because it's been in place, it's already been voted on. Oklahomans been paying on it since 2001. Oklahoma, hello, wake up. They've been paying on this since 2001. All right. Now, the only thing he could do is make amendments to it. And here are the amendments he's listing of what he was trying to do. And he didn't get it passed of what he was trying to do, but it makes sense. Ready?
Yeah.
These days, as we were trying to get away from simple government handouts and say, hey, maybe this should be based on merit. We're talking about the pushback against DEI and saying it shouldn't be based on the color of your skin, but actually your ability. Are you qualified for the job? And so there's a big push to attach merit to reward. And I think that it is appropriate. I liked your amendment, but talk to me about this. I have two questions. What was the amendment? And if it was passed, would you have voted for this?
Look, the amendment was that instead of just giving out the scholarship, and to be fair, to keep the scholarship and to keep going, they did have to keep up a 2.5 GPA. So I can respect that.
Which is part of your amendment that you put in there, but it was already in place.
So I backed it up, and to get into this scholarship for like high school students, it would have to be merit-based. And so it would have required a 2.5 GPA, which would have aligned with Oklahoma's promise, the same standard that everybody else has to do for Oklahoma's promise. And it would have required an essay on the history of the Tulsa Race Massacre to be considered to the State Board of Regents for consideration for the scholarship, making it ultimately merit-based.
Okay.
So what I like about Gabe here is instead of taxing every single taxpayer, what he was trying to do is make it more into a scholarship, and not just, Black people could apply. Because, just because you're Black doesn't mean your ancestor was a victim of that, right? Okay. So what I like about what he was trying to propose, this be a scholarship. Anybody could apply. They at least had to have a 2.5 GPA. They had to have knowledge and write a good long essay about what happened with the Tulsa race riot. And these are not things that are too out of grasp or too out there to expect. Okay, good. You ready?
Yeah, ready.
Okay.
And I think that one of the Democrats debating you, I think it was Representative McCain, argued that why would you have them write an essay about something that was so horrific that impacted their lives and make that a requirement to get the scholarship?
Okay.
It was about a scholarship.
No.
A lot.
That is where I have a problem. Why would you traumatize them and make them write about that? Because that was a traumatic situation. Okay, first of all, any kids that are applying for this scholarship, it did not happen to them. It did not happen to them. Yeah, maybe they did have some ancestors or maybe grandparents or something that did go through that, and that's horrific, and I'm sorry, but it did not happen to them. This is
Okay,
the problem with it.
okay. What about like studying about the Holocaust in school?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like, do we not teach the Holocaust to anyone who's
Mm-hmm.
Jewish because it's too traumatic for them?
Right. That's actually
No,
pushed.
no, no. How
That's
many fuck?
mm,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. How many people would be
mm,
outraged if somebody said, "We can't teach about the Holocaust anymore because it's too traumatic to Jewish people," or hell, it's too traumatic to anybody because we all need fucking trigger warnings on everything and fucking safe spaces to go fucking curl up with our blankies and suck our fucking thumbs.
right.
Like, dude, life. There's trauma in life. There's bad shit. There's horrific shit. There's shit that's happened. We need to know the horrific fucking shit that happened.
We need to
We
learn
need to
history.
know so
Hmm.
that we say this is what people are capable of. This is the map of what led us as people to doing this horrific shit
Right.
so that we can make sure it doesn't happen again. Fuck
Exactly. How are you supposed to keep from repeating history if you don't know it?
fuck trauma my ass.
Yeah. You ready?
Ready?
And make that a requirement to get the scholarship.
Oh,
Because
let
the
me go forward a
scholarship is for the
little
whole
bit because when I
Excellent
paused it,
point,
push that on and make that assumption
Excellent
on
point.
anyone specific. But there also was, of course, the argument that,
absolutely,
well,
Horace.
this has already been in existence, and this is kind of what we got from the Senate as to why it passed unanimously. This has already been a thing. And then in the House, the argument was made, well, they have to have a 2.5 GPA and potentially do some type of essay down the road to keep the scholarship. So that kind of justified it in some people's minds. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it was still a bill on reparations, so I still voted no.
Okay. Here's Oklahoma Representative Gabe Woolley. Now, looking at some of these emotionally charged bills and that attract a lot of Republican votes, one of these is the anti-Semitism bill, and some might consider this a death knell in your political career if you voted against this, right? I mean, because how could you be anti-Semitic if you're a Republican and conservative? But let's get to the heart of this. What did you think about this anti-Semitism bill?
There were two anti-Semitism bills. There was 942, SB 942, SB 941. And the issue, we had a great senator kind of do a deep dive and give a very detailed 2-page sheet as to.
Can you put that in the chat, Stairman? SB 941 and SB 942. That's the name of those bills.
The potential consequences of this. The biggest concern for me with these anti-Semitism bills is they stem from a website, and I'm going to forget the name of the website, but we can maybe drop it in the comments later. And it stemmed from a website that would hold the standard and make the definition of what anti-Semitism was. So my one concern was, okay, who runs this website, and when are they going to change the definition on the website so that the bill refers to the website and they go maybe change the definition according to what they want?
Is that the Holocaust Remembrance Alliance?
Yeah. And so the other concern was within that website, it states that it would be anti-Semitic to teach or preach that the Jews killed Jesus. So,
Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Okay. People in the chat, who killed Jesus? It wasn't just
changing
the
history beyond American history.
100%. It is. And you know what? It was not just the Jews. I mean, you had Roman leaders involved that were in the area at the time. You know, they had a hand in it as well. And not just because you're Jewish does not mean it was your ancestors that was outside screaming for him to be crucified and letting a murderer go. See, y'all need to stop being sensitive about that. That doesn't mean that was your ancestor. And I'm sorry, but you're so what happens whenever a pastor or preacher gets up on the pulpit and they're talking about Jesus' death, which is usually around this time of year, like before Easter, around Good Friday, they're talking about it because they're about to go into how he rose again 3 days later, right? Are they supposed to just avoid that conversation? Are they going to start amending Bibles now? No.
They're gonna
No.
try. They're gonna try.
Okay, you ready?
And yeah, I had something to throw in there. I'm trying to remember what it was. I kind of lost my thought there, but
But that's
like,
a clear violation of the First Amendment.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. But like, I don't. It like I said, the bad things need to be talked about and all that. But like, did like anybody with kids in school or have maybe recently graduated, like, did any of your all's kids ever like still watch the striped pajamas? Was that still something that they showed in school? Because if like Kitty, I don't know, have you ever seen that movie?
I've actually seen it, yes.
Yeah, like we watched that in school, and
Mhm.
man, it's I mean, dude, that's definitely not an easy movie to watch.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking, yeah.
Right.
So I really want to know, is that movie still played in school, or is that too traumatic? Is that something where it's like, oh, well, we have to give a trigger warning for this. Okay,
I
you
don't think it
can't.
is.
If you
Because
can't handle this movie, raise your hand and you'll go sit out in the hallway until class is over.
Mhm.
Like, dude, no. We need to see that. Kids need to see that so they know, hey, there are people my age, even younger, like, this is what happened to them. I need to
Right.
know that when I grow up, I make better decisions so kids like me don't have to go through something like this ever. I
Right.
need to be educated and I need to make sure that, that the government or the powers that be, whatever you want to call it, don't get to this level of control.
Mhm.
But sorry, go
Absolutely.
ahead, Kitty. Go ahead.
That would go directly against the Bible, and that would target Christians. And I basically didn't want us to get to a point where we start seeing pastors arrested at the pulpit for teaching from the Bible, teaching the gospel.
And then you get into this whole it segues into this theological debate. Well, did the Jews kill Jesus or not? And you go back and forth, but you're kind of missing the point there. That the pastor should have the freedom to preach his theology,
Yes.
even if he's wrong. I think the Bible is clear that the Jews were involved there, right? Obviously involved the Roman government.
Pharisees.
So
Yes.
this isn't a place for that whole theological debate. But, we're not saying we hate the Jews if we're saying the Bible does say the Jews were involved in the crucifixion of Jesus.
Mhm.
And we're talking about the First Amendment rights. And are you going to monitor language from the pulpit? It's very dangerous.
Yeah, and this would be free market principles. If they don't like what the pastor's preaching, they would choose to not go to that church and not to tithe to that church.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, this was
Exactly.
is a slippery slope to an attack on free speech. Of course, I completely do not support anti-Semitism, but we're getting into this free speech debate, free speech argument and regulation at this point. That's a slippery slope, especially when you get into a place of the ability of where people can change definitions of what words mean.
That's right. Yeah, like you said, the bill refers to the website, the Holocaust Remembrance Alliance.
It does.
And they refer to this
Can you look
working
that up,
definition. That seems very
What?
loose language as well. And
Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. That's the website.
the idea that on campus, I'm not sure. You said there was two bills, and so I'm not sure if there was a difference on this aspect. But if you have these basically monitors on college campuses that would look for anti-Semitic speech, that then could report that to a federal agency. So all kinds of concerns there of bringing in the feds to come in and monitor our state colleges based on someone's interpretation of what might be considered hate speech.
Yeah, between this and other bills like flock cameras, I mean, Big Brother's watching you everywhere for things you say, things you do, and then deeming that to be against the law if these bills were to pass, and just, I guess, hyper monitoring everybody.
Yeah, and I saw the memes and the notices sent out after the votes saying these are the senators who are anti-Semitic. These are the ones that hate Jews. I mean, of course, it's going to be twisted and perverted. Listen to any of the debates from anyone who debated against this bill, and it's very clear, in line with what you've been saying, we are not anti-Semitic. This.
What's up, America?
So that is the end of that clip. And that is totally the case. Every time you go against a narrative, um, excuse me, and I'm not saying all Jewish people are like this, you guys. I have a respect for the Jewish people. I have a respect for, the Jewish culture, the Jewish race. I was brought up that way. But there are some people that are, you said the word earlier, extremists. That anytime you go against whatever they don't want you to say, you're an anti-Semite. And that's not okay. If it's stuff that's correct from history, you can't change that. Only, idiots would blame a whole race for that. You know what I mean? Just, yeah. And I haven't had a chance to look at this website, Stoner Man, but this is the website that he's talking about that kind of has a hold of this bill.
So they got a lot of partners, Global Action Against Mass Atrocity Crimes, European Agency for Fundamental Rights, Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. Okay, so I'm just going to go off of what I see here. So there's all these partners of this, what was it, the Alliance, Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, and then come up here. Heads of delegation meet during the Zagreb IHRA plenary. Why do we need a whole organization for this? Why do we need all these other organizations when they're shit? And why do we need this organization for this? Why? And no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, well, like, no, we don't need to be promoting the history of the Holocaust. No, we do. Rewind a little bit. We're sitting there, we're defending, hey, no, this needs to be talked about. But why do we need an organization for this? Look at these people. Look at how many fucking people there are there.
Right.
Why do we need that? Why can we not just teach true history?
Right.
And then, boom, there we go. We can accomplish more than what these fuckers are doing. What do they do? What do they fucking do all day? What are they out there accomplishing? We still can't fucking talk about anything traumatic. So what's the point of this whole fucking organization other than fucking suck down fucking taxpayer fucking money and fucking suck in fucking grants and all these donations and shit to do fucking nothing but pocket it?
Right.
Where's
So
the help?
you can't talk about the Tulsa race riots and the massacre that happened there.
But you can damn sure pay
because
money
that's
out for it.
traumatic. But you can pay money out for it, but you can't talk about the Holocaust and the horrific atrocities that happened there, even though that was also traumatic. It rolls for thee, but not for thee. It's just the same thing all over again. And honestly, I mean, anybody that was a victim of that Tulsa stuff, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's awful. It's disgusting. Not okay with it, right? But I don't believe anybody deserves any reparations. If anybody deserves reparations, what about the 5 civilized tribes of the Indian Territory that we now call the state of Oklahoma that are still stuck on reservations right now? What about them?
You make an excellent point, Kitty. People who are patriots or Americans. I mean, what's something common that we hear? Well, how dare you say nobody can come into this country when, your ancestors came here and took this land away from the Native Americans? Okay. Two wrongs don't make a right. Anybody ever hear that fucking saying? Two wrongs don't make a right. So just because our ancestors came in and were assholes doesn't mean that we need to let other people come in and be assholes.
Right.
I mean, that's just fucking, common sense, dude. Use your fucking brain. And, dude, the real Americans understand, dude, yeah, the Native Americans got fucked. They really did, dude.
Mhm.
That it's not fair that they don't have their land. Go back and there are like episodes where you hear me talking about, every man's right to his land. That's not just white man. No, man. Native, white, black, what the fuck ever. You have a right to your land as a human being. You're a human, you have that right. And we shouldn't be fucking keeping these, natives basically caged into fucking reservations.
Right. Absolutely,
But
Stonerman. Absolutely.
and
And, I mean, with all of this, again, it's creating more separation than it is
yep,
anything. All of this, both things that were brought up on that, both of them, they both are.
yep. But yeah, I mean, dude, we don't need to be paying. Nobody needs to be paying reparations for some shit that happened in the past when you were not directly involved or affected or a victim of it. All we're doing is, like you said, creating that separation, that divide, but also we're picking at the scab. Remember in King of the Hill? And he's like, you know, like stop picking at the scab. Let it heal. It's not going to heal if you keep picking it. They won't allow the wound to heal. Shut the fuck up. Stop saying that anybody fucking owes anybody anything. And let's all treat each other with some basic fucking respect. Give each other basic fucking rights as human beings. And we will heal from that shit that happened that was so fucking wrong. But it happened and there's no going back and changing it. And we can move on. And together, with unity, we can say we're not going to allow this to happen again.
Right. And
That's
here's
as
another thing.
simple as that. Occam's razor, sometimes
Mm,
the simplest explanation is the right one.
right. And
How
if you go
simple
back,
is that? Go
no,
ahead, Jen.
absolutely. No, you're good. I'm sorry. Um, if you go back in history, babe, everybody has been victimized in one way or another. Every race.
Yep.
Every race. Everybody. We've been playing out mean and ugly to each other. Like in
Oh,
the
yeah.
past. Like if you go far back enough, everybody's been a victim. So, like, why are you expecting like money for your stuff? Because yours is the one that's getting attention. You know,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely, Taurus girl, absolutely.
And, it's like we were talking about earlier when we were just talking completely different, unrelated subject to this here. But, you know, do you think being a true Christian, I'm not talking about going to a Christian church and reading the Christian Bible. I'm saying being a true Christian. Do you believe that it was right for so many people to have been slaughtered in the name of God? No. No, dude.
Right.
It's like Christians have fucked up.
All of
Americans
us
have
have.
fucked up. Other countries have fucked up. We all fuck up. We all make mistakes, man. But the point to that is it goes to a higher level. It goes to a
Hmm.
higher level. And, I was, talking to my sister yesterday, and I was like, you know, these mass tragedies, whether it's 9/11, the murder bombing, you know, whatever, the Holocaust, the Crusades, whatever, what is it with the mass killings? It's like sacrifice.
Right.
It's that's what I believe it all boiled down to was sacrifice.
Mhm.
They they want they want us to continue like offing each other, man.
Right. Absolutely. So I asked a question back before I started this clip, and I was like, "Hey, what is your state, and what do you know more about from your state? Is it more national news?" I know Taurus for sure answered. She said it's more national in Hollywood. Same thing here. And the state news, if they do go over it, they go over it with a slant to where you almost have to do your own investigation and make up your own mind and do your own research. And that's how I found this today. I didn't know we've been paying on reparations for that since 2001. I know Stoner Man, your face was priceless. You're like,
Yeah. And
you
dude,
did, you had no clue, and you're native.
look at Doge though. Look at the shit that was dug up that we know about.
Mhm.
Think about all the shit we don't know about.
Right,
Because there's just so much.
right.
It's not like you can just like write out a quick list. Like,
Absolutely.
and dude, we haven't even looked in every crevice yet. There's a whole lot of this country left to go.
Right.
That
But
dude, we're just kind of hitting. He was just kind of hitting the hot spots there. That quick shower. Hit the pitch, hit the groin, and go. Like, dude, there's a lot more cleaning house to do.
mhm, there is. And my point with all of this was they do that on purpose. The states tend to do that on purpose to where you don't know what's going on in your own state. Like Stonerman said, us going over the Constitution, who gives the states power? We do. It's the power of the people. We are the people. If we don't know what's going on in our own state, that's a big issue. We need to make sure, like, and I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, but try to keep up with your own state a little bit. Try to do that here and there. Make sure you're not
Sure,
losing
home.
your constitutional rights or whatever, because before you know it, it could become California. And
And
you're like,
not,
what happened in my state? You
and not
know,
only
and
that,
you don't
but
want that for your kids.
make sure you're not getting, outvoted by somebody who has no right to even have a say so in the first place. Make sure even if you don't agree with us, you're like, hey, fuck these two. I don't believe in any of that shit. I'm gonna vote the other way. Cool, do it.
Yeah,
That's your fucking freedom. That is your right.
right.
No, we're not
We're
here
never
to
going
ever
to.
fucking infringe that. But you know what? If you're
Hmm.
gonna fucking do it, at least
Hmm.
understand what you're voting for, what you're standing for, what's going on, how this affects your home, your community, and hey, dude, like understand that there's a chance that even if you don't agree with this, you may still get outvoted just because your state's not fucking checking voter IDs, man.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
oh shit,
Ah!
we got Regina. Hey, what's up, sis? Talk about a true patriot here, man. For
So,
real.
absolutely. Regina, I don't know if you've been watching this whole time, and I was going to send this to Stoner Man to where he can send this to you because I know you'd be all about this one that was going.
Oh yeah, yeah, some crazy shit in Oklahoma. But so all in all, guys, you know, the episode is about true patriotism. It's not about what you should believe in necessarily so much as just knowing your rights, knowing what your freedoms and liberties are, and being able to make judgment based off of what your rights are and not what the government tells you you have a decision or a say so in. You know, to be able to stand for your country and say, this is my home, this is what I want, this is what I am going to disallow, to be able to have a true due process of law to where you can say, okay, this is not what the people want, we're not going to do it. You know, if something doesn't get passed, the people don't vote for it, you can't just use a bunch of dirty fucking tactics. You can't, oh, well, you're not going to sign off on what I want to do, so I'm going to fucking, shit all over everything you do and, try to make your life a living hell just so you'll cooperate with me. The dirty politics, all that shit, man. Like, let's just be excellent to each other. Let's stop with the divide. Let's stop trying to find reasons to disagree and to hate each other. Let's stop being afraid. Like with the whole, oh, it's too traumatic to discuss. Let's stop with that. We have to understand history. We have to be able to take those horrors and those tragedies, say, yes, this was terrible, and we need to say, this is how we make sure this doesn't happen again. We have to stop paying reparations to people who were never a victim in the fucking first place.
Right.
And making them feel like they're something special while simultaneously making us feel like we're somehow less. It's like a mind game. They're like, you're going to pay reparations to this person for this. And it's almost like a little subconscious thing that it eats away at you, like, I did something wrong. It's like a fine. I'm being fined. I did something wrong. I'm guilty. No, you ain't guilty of shit, dude. You did nothing wrong. You're just having to pay this person because somebody else told you did something fucking wrong. It's like that whole white privilege. There ain't no goddamn white privilege. We're all equally fucking fucked. We're all slaves to the fucking system. There are white people out there that have a lot of money and fucking power and they're corrupt as shit.
Right.
But that goes with people, I mean, of all fucking races, all backgrounds, all different countries.
Absolutely.
Stop trying to
Absolutely.
make us all like we're something that we're not. Trump's trying to pit us against each other.
Absolutely.
A
And if you don't,
well-regulated militia, that militia is we the people.
yes, yes, absolutely. And if you've got a problem with what's going on in your state after you've researched a little bit, get involved. Go through the proper channels, call the numbers you need to call, email the emails you need to email, like email addresses, all that. You know, if that doesn't work, make sure to get them primaried very next time. If you want to go further, go and start a petition to get them to resign. Do something. Do something
Or
because you know what the last 4 years has taught me, everything can be gone just like that. All your rights, everything. It can be gone just like that. And if we're not paying attention to our home state and what's going on, even with Trump in office, because he's running the country, but he is doing what he's supposed to do. He's giving rights to the states for the states to govern their own state. You know, and if we aren't paying attention, that could be gone. Even with Trump in office, even though because he's trying to give power to the states the way it's supposed to be, like a republic, not a democracy.
yep, absolutely. And guys, if and like Kitty you said, if you want to take it a step farther, if you want to take it a step farther than that, look into going into office, man.
Hmm.
Like you don't have to, be part of a secret society or go to a fucking, Ivy League fucking school to become a politician. That just because that's what most of them are doesn't mean that's what yet. No, you can get into office and you can start getting deeper into inner workings and start making bigger changes from the inside. If this is something you're passionate about, go for it, man. You know, maybe just something as simple as mayor or something. Or hell, like county sheriff or something. Something where you can make a bigger difference from within the state. As part of, I mean, if you're a civil servant and you're serving the people, you can serve your people. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Or you can do what I do and go and make videos and bully politicians and get views that way and have people share it. But hey, in a way, it's a good thing. I do it for a
It is.
purpose. I don't do it for my clicks and views. I actually do it to where people are like, wait, that's going on in our state in Oklahoma? What's going on? And then they share it. They share it. And they're like, hey, we need to be aware of this. Like people that think like me, they're like, hey, what's going on? And then they start to pay attention.
But see, that's the thing is that's the new wave of independent journalism. Is like I said, it wasn't like back in the day where the news station had to get a tip and go set up and do all that. People just pull out their phone, record what's going on, post to social media, the whole world sees. This is the new age of journalism and how people see what's going on, you know. But
Ooh, you better post that comment.
oh, I'm posting it right now.
Hell yeah.
Love to, but I'm too hot-headed. But I've been to Capitol several times and insisted in ousting Senator Yin. Hell yeah,
Hell
that's
yeah.
awesome. I did not know that.
Absolutely. That's amazing. You see, you've definitely tried to leave, a footprint for your kids and your grandkids and everything else. It's
Oh, absolutely.
amazing.
And
If
see, that's
all of
what we're.
us and if all of us did a little part, it doesn't matter what it is, whatever we can do, whether it's a phone call, if that's all we have time to do, whatever, fine. If it's an email, that's all we can do, fine. If it's going to the Capitol like your sister's done, hell yeah, that's amazing. You know, if it's something like just make a little TikTok video to get the word out, like, yeah, whatever you got to do, this is what it's about right here. That's freaking amazing.
And see, that shows the politicians. That reminds them, oh shit, I can't bully these people. They, look at all these people that realize they still own my ass.
Yeah, because we do, motherfucker. We
Hell yeah.
do. We pay your motherfucking salary. You work for
Hell yeah.
us. We
Fuck
are not
yeah.
your peons, motherfucker.
Yep. And like, even Tara's girl pointed out, they know that we have the strength in numbers. There's more of us than there are of them. Hence why they haven't
100%.
actively came and tried to, full on control us. They haven't come tried to fucking take our shit away. But damn it, I keep forgetting what I was about to say. Oh, but yeah, and then, like I said, you're showing them that you're not going to be bullied, but not only that, you have people like Hillary Clinton. What she's doing now is she's turning off her comments and her reposts and all of this. So you can't even sit there and unless it's people that like I think you said to where people will follow you or even like select people can comment. I'm like that's bullshit. So basically you're making sure nobody can come in on your post about some stupid shit and maybe prove you wrong, maybe show you how what you just said is inaccurate, anything like that. They're basically censoring the opposition by not even giving them a chance to have their voice in the first place.
You know who also turned off his comments after
So,
going on Fox News and saying, if my bill for the immigrants would have passed, Republican Senator Lankford, the traitor, the dude that was
uh,
working with Schumer on that stupid immigration bill.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he turned it back on, but
But
I am
see,
gonna put.
I don't think they're going to. That's the tactic. Make sure
Mhm,
nobody can disagree with them.
right. I'm gonna put Gabe Woolley. Again, he was just elected this last year. I'm gonna put his YouTube channel
Yeah.
in the comments, you guys. So y'all be sure if y'all are interested, if y'all are from Oklahoma, go ahead and subscribe to him. He is amazing. He is also on X. And like I said, as far as I can see, this dude has been true to everything that he says that he's about.
Heck yeah. And hell, while we're at it, shout out to Matt Gates, man. That is one awesome fucking dude. For real, man. I mean, just talk about somebody who has just taken no shit. Like, I've got mad respect for that guy, man. I really fucking do. But yeah, man. Um, Taurus, yes, absolutely. And that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. I don't know if you caught
Mhm.
that part, but when I mean, our own president got censored on social media. If you're gonna make a platform where people can supposedly go on and speak their mind, say whatever they want, make groups for whatever, you can't define what somebody can put on there or not. Unless there's like this is a fan club or a specific topic only, you cannot not censor that at all.
Mhm.
Shout out to Matt
Absolutely.
Gates, hell yeah. Should we go on the list? Tulsi Gabbard. That's a badass, man. See,
Dude,
that's what I
she
mean.
is a hero.
And
She
dude,
is
that's
a
what I mean.
damn female hero, man.
Like,
Like,
who would have thought that, like, she would end up doing something greater like that? Like, people are like, it's that mentality of, oh, well, I'm just nobody. I'll never be able to make a difference. Fuck no, man. If that's the mentality you're gonna put yourself in, that's the way you're gonna approach the
that's the way
situation.
it's gonna be. Oh, and that's the way it's gonna be too.
Yeah,
When you have that mentality. Absolutely,
we
baby.
all have the capability to go and do something. We're so quick to piss and moan about what we dislike and how wrong and unfair some shit is, but how many people will actually get off their ass and try to do something about it? It's easy to bitch. It's hard to take action sometimes, especially
It
when you've
is.
got this much opposition, this powerful of
Absolutely.
opposition.
Mhm.
But once again, do what you guys do, man. And you wanna, who are you mentioning? Oh, we weren't mentioning anybody in particular, but we were talking about Tulsi Gabbard there too for a second.
Mhm. Mhm. She's
But yeah, I mean,
amazing. That's a
we all
true
have,
woman.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I mean, everything down. I'm glad you brought that up, Kitty. To the nuclear family, you know, they they're destroying every part of what made America so great in the argument that it was never great to begin with. You know, like this whole build back. Was it the build back better?
Mhm.
Like build back from what? Y'all the ones
They
that
that
fucked it
that was
up.
an energy scam. That was an energy deal scam. That's what that was. And actually put us more into debt. But anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, it's the wording. Like, think about the wording.
Mhm.
Regardless of what it actually was, build back
Mhm.
better. That makes it sound like, oh, we're gonna do something greater for the country.
It
There's
also has
something
that
broken, and we need to build it back. Look at the phrasing to that.
it also puts that mental association with Better Business Bureau, small businesses, medium sized businesses, triple B, like somewhere in your subconscious. So you think it's like professional.
And dude, what did they do to help small businesses? Go
Nothing.
go on go on fucking Amazon. What can you
Mm,
sort by? Woman owned business, minority owned
mm,
business, black owned business.
mm.
I don't give a fuck who owns the fucking business. I don't care if it is a he, she who identifies as a fucking caterpillar. If you provide a good product or you provide a good service, you're an upstanding company who stands with integrity and stands by their word, says, hey, this is what we're going to do, or this is what we're going to provide you, we're going to do it at a fair price, we're going to take care of our customers. Good business. That's all I care about. Good business. Why are we sitting there and saying, well, I want to look at products only sold by a black owned company? Why? Who fucking cares? If it's a shitty product, you're gonna buy it just because it's owned by a minority or by a female?
Mhm.
Dude, I don't give a
Right.
shit. And that is true, like, discrimination there is by saying I'm only
Yes,
gonna buy from a fucking minority. That's the
absolutely.
discrimination, motherfucker.
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
discrimination is not saying I don't care. I'll buy from anybody who provides a good product. That's not fucking discrimination.
Right.
It is always the pot calling the kettle fucking black.
It is.
No
Absolutely.
pun intended there.
And also, a little thing, because I had to do some research because, I was on X at the time and I was proven this full wrong on X. Uh, Small businesses actually went down in the 4 years that Biden was in office. They went down quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Small businesses staying in business, small businesses opening, like starting up, both those numbers went down, you guys.
And why? Small businesses fell because a lot of them, they were shut down due to the fucking whole what is it, the quarantine. I mean, dude, we lost small businesses here over the quarantine.
Right.
You
Right. And
we
then
can't.
Biden used those numbers and said, "Oh, look, my numbers are so great. Yeah, you basically, shut all these businesses down and pressured Trump to close down the economy, close down the country. And then when you got in office, then you opened it back up, and these are just rebound numbers."
Well, that and I mean, you gotta think how many just because we're giving grants to minorities and women to start businesses, like yeah, they're all skyrocketing, but that doesn't mean that these are good quality businesses. Hell, go to Amazon and dude, find me a product on the first five search items in your search result, and they're gonna be it's gonna look like somebody bashed their head on the fucking keyboard, and that's how they name their company. Like it's some bad translations from some Chinese shit, and it's like I don't even know how to pronounce this. I'm not buying from this fucking company. I don't. Where's what happened to the days of, hey, this is a reputable brand. I'm gonna go with them because I know that they make a good product, and I stand by a company that makes a good product. Hell, look at like families. You used to have Ford families, GM families. People are like, hey, this is like the family fucking brand. We were that dedicated to companies because companies actually had integrity and stood by their fucking product. I mean, dude, look at the days of Craftsman when fucking Sears was around. Like, dude, that was the glory days of Craftsman. They ain't shit now. When Sears
Absolutely.
fucking shut down, Craftsman tanked. And now
Mhm.
they're kind of starting to, make a comeback, but it's not what it used to be, man. Gina said, did you guys hear about Bondi supposedly leaking secret info to someone she was out on lunch with? I did
So
not
I
hear
have a
about that.
question about that, Regina. Are you talking about the James O'Keefe Media or the O'Keefe Media Group revealing yesterday that Bondi had revealed that the FBI were holding Epstein, uh, like files and files of Epstein? Or are you talking about something else? Because if it's something else, I don't know about it.
Yeah, and that's bullshit, man.
Yeah.
That
Uh, Taurus girl. Totally. Totally. Made in
hell yeah.
China. 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 Madam Baboon, Yadam Crayhoon, Pom
And
Pom
see,
McDonald. They're both gonna have to find something else for their products because none of their stuff is made in America with all the
and
tariffs we got going on.
and see, I don't know if anybody ever saw that post that I said to. I made a post kind of shouting out Playboy. Um, you know, he's the reason I respect that dude is because you know he was there, like he was a J6er. He was unfairly imprisoned. He is a true patriot. He stands for America because that that's what he believes. That's who he is. He is a patriot. There are others out there that are making patriotic music because that's a fad. patriotism is not a fad, guys. You know, and we can look back to 9/11. You know, like after that day, everybody was a patriot. Everybody was all pro America, which was awesome. But why did it take this tragedy to for us to be patriotic? It was like a fad. And then look at now, you know, patriotism hardly exists with what you would call the common, you know, folk. Like it's like it fades in, it fades out, fades in, it fades out. Why is it not something that is just steady, that is just always? Do you see what I mean?
No, absolutely, babe. Absolutely. I am actually, because we've brought Playboy the Beast up a couple of times. Actually, more than a couple of times. I'm putting his link in the comments. You guys, if you are interested in his story as a J6er, he does go through it with his lyrics. He is an independent artist. He does speed rap. He is an amazing hip hop artist. He can actually slow it down also. Anyway, put his link in the comments on this live chat if y'all want to subscribe to him.
Heck yeah. And I think he actually has a couple like little podcast episodes where he was kind of talking about everything he went through and everything.
I have not been able to catch up on those, but yes, he does. He is doing a podcast. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I was Death Key and I, we were watching when the J6ers were pardoned and everything, and how they were pretty much still being held captive and shit. And I feel so bad for those people, man. I mean, just having that empathy, trying to put myself in their shoes, like they were taken away from their families and their lives, and they're told, "Hey, I can get back to it," and they think, "Okay, here's the moment. I'm gonna see my family again." No, no, you're not. Like, I mean, did you see the people that are out there waiting for these people to be released?
Oh yeah.
You know, fucking, wives and children, like,
Screaming for
yeah.
them. Yeah.
And dude, like, did you see some of those fucking Capitol Police? Like that
They
one
were
dude,
disgusting.
he thought he was Big Boss Hog. Oh, I'm above the law. I ain't gotta listen to none of that. No, you do. You have to listen to the fucking law. But,
Yeah.
being a sovereign territory, more or less, not sure how many people you're aware of that, but,
Yeah.
I think that's, kind of what was going on there. But
And that
that's for another
happened
episode.
under Biden's watch as well, to where they are not legally culpable because they are their own thing now. Anyway, one thing I will say about the J6ers, yeah, I agree with you 100% on all that. Another concern of mine are the two J6ers that were unalived shortly after being
Yeah,
released.
absolutely. That's,
Prayers to their families. Prayers to all the J6ers. I mean, that's still got to give you some PTSD. Prayers to all their families that, went through maybe years without like their loved one. Um, everything else.
and, with that too, another point I was going to make with that, with the Capitol Police, I swear some of those fuckers had a nasty little fucking smirk on their face. Like they were getting some sort of sick satisfaction out of that.
Yeah, I saw
And
that too.
how many people are getting sick satisfaction out of those two?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, there are people that think these people are terrorists.
Mm.
They ain't fucking terrorists, man.
They have
Somebody
demons.
somebody who was just at the wrong place, at the wrong time, trying to support their country, is ranked worse than people who are trying to assassinate people. Makes no sense to me. That's like we were talking about earlier, somebody accused of fucking, or, found guilty of theft or some shit, larceny, whatever, is in the same room with an offender, a PDF file, as you would say. Dude, we're it's like we're blurring the lines too fucking much, man. And people
Right.
are are not being taught, and they're being programmed to not being able to define those lines anymore.
Hmm. What is right is what is right is wrong. What is wrong is right. Nobody knows the truth anymore because everything's a lie.
Yep. And while we're saying prayers out to
Hmm.
those two's families, prayers out to Ashley Babbitt's family as well.
100%. Absolutely.
But well, it's getting late. Damn, we're damn near 3 hours. I think this might be our longest podcast yet. Yes, Tara's girl. Um,
Absolutely.
I mean, there were some war tribes and all that, man, but for the most part, dude, the Indians weren't savages. If anybody's ever watched Young Guns, um, Lou Diamond Phillips, Chavez's, monologue there when he was kind of talking about like what happened to him as a kid and all that. Dude,
Mhm.
that's real shit. That fucking happened many
Yeah.
times, many different tribes, and you know, dude, we did some fucked up shit, man. The white man did some fucked up shit, but Gabe said he can't hear anything. I think Taurus has got us on audio. I think Regina does too. I'm not sure what's going on, Gabe. Um, but I mean, yeah, dude, the white man did some. Never mind, disregard that. The white man did some fucked up shit, man. But I'm still proud to be white, not because of that fucked up shit. Because I'm proud of who I am. If I was a different skin color, I'd be proud of that too.
Right.
It's okay to be
Absolutely.
proud of your heritage and where you came from. We're all gonna make mistakes. Just because somebody of a certain color did something wrong does not make it okay or justifiable to put everybody of that skin color into a box. You know,
Mhm.
um, fuck you. I'm gonna say I'm proud to be white. Get the fuck over it.
I'm proud to be a mutt. I'm all sorts of different
I,
things, but I wanted to add to your point here. Yeah, the white man have done some really messed up stuff. So does everybody. Native American tribes have too. Y'all want to talk shit in the comments? I'm part Native American. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead. The Spanish, again, part white, right? But the indigenous tribes in these areas, they kind of did some messed up stuff to them too. You always say some stuff about that. Go ahead, bring it. I'm part that too. Bring it. You know, um, it goes all the way around. I mean, you had black people going in and enslaving other black people and selling them.
yeah,
That's where that started. It wasn't the white people that started that. It was actually in Africa where it started. Yeah.
yeah,
And it does like, dude, it doesn't matter. Dude, there is trash. There are bad people in every race, every culture. I don't care who they are. Nobody's perfect.
absolutely. Well, Taurus girl's with you on that one.
Yes, yes. Okay, so Cherokee got okay. So Cherokee, I will say, and that's not to say there were a few of the Cherokee that were kind of went against. Cherokee were very peaceful, even whenever white people were arriving. They actually assimilated within the white culture. They wanted to learn their ways. They wanted to learn, but there, of course, you're going to have some scragglers that kind of like, no, we're used to living this way, and kind of got violent with it, but that wasn't very common with the Cherokee people. But you did have a few. But the Cherokee people really kind of got the shit end of the stick on all of it because while they assimilated after what was it, maybe 100, maybe 200 years of being assimilated, the white people were like, "Oh, you know what? We want your land. That you have all these pretty mansions and stuff, but we want your land, and we want your mansion too, and we want your slaves, so that we have somebody to work the land. So y'all are going to need to move." And there you go, the Trail of Tears. And the Cherokee weren't the only one that happened to. I'm also Cherokee as well. Um, so absolutely Taurus. But like I said, every culture, every race, I don't care. I don't give a shit who you are. Everybody has got that apple somewhere. It doesn't matter. Dude, let's move on. Let's not forget about it. Let's know the history from it, move on, and make better decisions for each other. Be excellent to each other. Right?
Absolutely. Like we always say, guys, just about every episode we do, you know, it all always seems to boil down to that same general concept. And in everything that we do, we say every episode, agape. You know, we did a whole episode over the 7 types of love. You know, agape, man, be excellent to each other. Most of the shit going on in the world right now, then, could just be solved by being excellent to each other, respecting each other. Stop being a dick, man. Stop being so selfish. Learn to think, educate yourself. I mean, is any of this too much to ask or expect? No. No, this is all simple shit that you should do no matter what your beliefs are, what you want in life to achieve, what your aspirations are, where you come from, your background, what you may have lived through or didn't live through. This is all basic concepts for everybody and anybody. And, you know, you can still disagree. You can still say, "Hey, fuck you guys. I don't agree with what you're saying." That's cool, man. As long as you're educated, as long as you're using some logic and some common sense, disagree with us all day. Because what are we talking about? What are we talking about tonight? Rights, freedoms. That
Absolutely.
You are more than welcome to disagree. You're more than welcome to think the sky is fucking purple.
Some soldier died for your right to do that. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stop disrespecting the military. Stop disrespecting America. This is your home, man. If you
Mhm.
don't like it, go somewhere else, man.
Absolutely.
But
And another
stop
thing,
saying and assuming that us patriots wish you harm or wish discrimination upon you or any of that shit, man. If you come across somebody who claims to be MAGA or a patriot or even an American who discriminates you against you, who thinks less of you for whatever reason, realize they're not a real fucking American or patriot. Simple as that.
absolutely. And if you're just beginning your journey of like whatever, whether it's political, whatever, or you didn't really pay attention to the Constitution in school, and now you're trying to learn it a little bit just for yourself or whatever, or maybe you don't have an interest. Let's say you're working a couple of jobs, you come across this podcast, and you're like, okay, I don't have time for this. If you've got kids and you don't have time for it, the only thing you have time for is maybe a little bit of downtime of maybe getting a McDonald's coffee and going into your next job because you're working 2 or 3 jobs. I get that. But one thing I'm going to ask you to do if you've got kids, think about the kind of world you want them living in. And if you have kids and you think about that, then you're going to really start paying attention.
Absolutely. And even if you guys don't have kids, think about it this way. because I know the new trend is not having kids anymore. But
Coincidence,
if you
right?
don't have kids or believe in having kids, think about it this way: you're not going to be around forever. You know, the young generation is going to grow up and they're going to be making decisions, and you know they're going to be making decisions about you. So you know, make sure that even if it's not your kids, make sure everyone else's kids, you know, grow up and make better decisions, man. You know, like, dude, I hope that, you know, every generation, whether it's from, you know, our bloodline or someone else's, I hope that they all make better choices. I hope every generation in succession makes better choices. I mean, it's no different than a
Absolutely.
parent being proud that their kid is doing better at, you know, whatever age than they were at that age.
Right. Or even better overall. Heck yeah. Bring it on. I
Oh
hope
yeah.
both my boys, I hope they both do so. I hope they stomp whatever I've gotten from life into the ground. It's so far they're doing it, but
Heck yeah.
we
Real,
we handle
real
it.
quick. Thank you so much, Taurus. You're awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for stopping in, man. Thanks for showing us some love, and we'll definitely catch you on the next one.
Hmm.
But and yeah, man. I mean, that's what it is, man. And if you have a problem with, you know, your you know, your kin, your kids growing up doing better than you, or someone else's kids doing better than you, you're selfish, man. It's good to see the next generation making better choices. Abe said, I agree, I'll have children, but red is red and wrong is wrong no matter what.
Hmm.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, think of how, you know, they're going to treat, you know, all of us when we're elders.
Yeah.
You know, dude, there's no respect for elders right now, dude. You know, I don't want some punk ass little kid fucking, you know, disrespecting me. And, you know, dude, I'll be that motherfucker. I'll be beating his ass with a cane. Shit. There's some
Stoner Man's gonna
respect, God damn it.
Stoner Man's gonna be you. I don't know. I'm sure all of you've seen it by this point, but this young little thug motherfucker goes and breaks into this house, and you see his picture whenever they take his mugshot, and he's beaten all the fuck up because this old dude beat his ass. That's gonna be
Seriously, man.
his.
I'm gonna be that old timer that they're like, oh, this guy's an old fart. Well, yeah, we got this. We'll break in, it gives us any problems, you know, we'll just knock him upside the head. Hell no. Be waiting for, have a surprise waiting for you. But yes, I'm totally that old man that is gonna be sitting out on the fucking porch with my shotgun, you know, fucking salt rounds loaded. Get off my lawn!
You
Oh
totally will
shit,
be.
that's good. You be the one rolling in a chair with a cane like you just dude. Fuck yeah. You know it, man. Like extreme sports, man. Whether the wheelchair rugby. Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh shit. Well, we're just about at the 3 hour mark, Kitty. So I think it's time to wrap it up. But everybody, thank you all so much for joining in, and hope you all have a great weekend, man. Looks like it's gonna be a beautiful one. Don't know about y'all, but hope y'all have a beautiful weekend. Get some outdoor time, man. Get some of that fresh
Absolutely.
air. Enjoy this wonderful country we call the USA.
Absolutely. And to all you patriots out there, thanks for stopping in. Give any questions, anything like that, y'all put them in the comments. And we're glad that you stopped by. Have a beautiful weekend. And Creek Squad, motherfucker.
Creek Squad!